Why did you have to say that to me? I did notice
You
that.
just noticed it's not.
I noticed that from last week. Do you know?
Is the summer over on Sunday, do you think? It's back to school.
Oh, we live in the moment. Keep it here today.
I'm only joking. All right, Lee, have a goodie. It's 9 o'clock, time for News Update. Good morning, Emma Ryan.
Good morning, Greg. Thank you. Gardaí and Donegal have issued a warning over a one ring scam. Gardaí say they have received recent reports that missed calls are being received from a 94 prefix number. The scam, known as a one ring scam, involves a phone call which rings only once. Once a phone call returns a missed call, they will be rerouted to a premium rate number overseas and will subsequently be billed extortionate rates for the privilege of listening to pre-recorded messages. Gardaí are advising people to ignore the call and do not return it. Rents in Donegal have hit an all-time high after recording an increase of over 18.5% in the past year. The latest Daft.ie house price report shows the average listed rent is now €881, up 82% from its lowest point. With more, here's Donna Marie Doherty.
In Donegal, market rents were on average 18.5% higher in the second quarter of 2022 than a year previously. There were 76 new home transactions in Donegal, representing an increase of 19% from last year. The average price of a home in Donegal in July 2022 is €199,757, an increase of 6.5% from the first quarter of the year and a yearly increase of 19.1%. Rents in 3 Ulster counties rose 16.7% year on year, reflecting a lack of availability. Just 26 homes were available to rent on August 1st. Prices nationally in the second quarter of 2022 were 9.5% higher than the same period the year before.
As temperatures are set to rise even further in some parts of the country in the coming days, people are being warned of the potential dangers of swimming in open water. They are also being advised not to be overconfident in the water and to know their own limits. Roger Sweeney, acting CAO of Water Safety Ireland, has reiterated the dangers of swimming in the lakes, seas and rivers and is urging people not to use inflatable toys.
Have you made sure that the kids don't bring inflatable toys to open water? They can be taken out by a rip current or by an offshore breeze, and you yourself can get into difficulty if you try and retrieve them. And have you made arrangements to make sure that any children that are going to the waterways are supervised? And by supervision, we mean close, uninterrupted adult supervision.
To weather now, today will be bright with warm spells, highest temperatures of 24 to 26 degrees. That's all for now. We'll be back with an update again at 10 o'clock. But until then, good morning.
The train calling at Platform 3 is the 1959 service to Cork. Calling at Charleville, Mallow and Maria in C32A starts chemo next month.
We don't always know who's at risk from COVID-19 and other viruses, but we do know how to protect them. Keep hands clean and wear a mask. Let fresh air in. Get vaccinated and stay at home if you are unwell. From the HSE, for us all.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Student loans now available and free banking for students from your local and friendly credit union. Call 91 02126 or email loans@letterkennycu.ie.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello, good morning to you. Just turning 4 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday. It's the 10th of August 2022 and we're in the middle of another week. They are flying in, aren't they? 08660 25,000 WhatsApps and texts open to you on that number. Get in contact with us. Tell us your good news, your positive stories as well, by the way, as raising any issues or concerns you may well have. You can call Caroline and Donna Marie on the phone line 07491 25,000. They are literally waiting for your call. Email comments@highlandradio.com and join us on social media. Highland Radio Ireland, we're streaming the show live on YouTube. We're also on Facebook, Highland Radio News and Sport and Highland Radio, and on Twitter as well. Or you can just go to our website, highlandradio.com, and enjoy the show. Watch our guests, many of them in browser there. All right, we've lots to get through, including this morning's newspapers. So let's crack on with the Inish Times. Donegal County Council has been called on to provide safe crossing points on the road through Fawn, which has been described as a death trap due to the speed and quantity of traffic. There are fears that the large number of young families who live in the area and the amount of traffic that comes through the village will lead to a tragedy. Fawn resident John Deaney said he's been raising the issue with local councillors for 2 years, but they've been told that crossing points will be provided as part of the proposed greenway between Buncrana and Derry. And Mr. Deaney was in contact with us as well a couple of days ago. If you agree with him, if you share his concerns, get in touch with us, 086 60 25,000. The Donegal Post, summer sun. It's accompanied by a picture of a young person jumping off cliffs. Looks like Bundoran, is it? While the Met Éireann weather station at Finner Camp registered a high of 21 degrees at 3 p.m. on Monday, and again as of 3 p.m. yesterday, the temperatures in Donegal over the coming days will not reach the heights of other parts of the country. Met Éireann has said on Monday night it was still 16 degrees at midnight, hitting its lowest at 6 a.m. on Tuesday when 13 degrees was recorded. Paul Downs, meteorologist with Met Éireann, said that it is possible that temperatures would rise in Donegal to 25 degrees on Friday, with 24 in the southeast of the country by Thursday. By Thursday, and while coastal areas would be cooler, he anticipated that this pleasant warm spell would be the longest that had been experienced in a while for Donegal. I think we kind of probably, it feels like we had 2 half days of summer so far this year, so it's good to see it. But I mean, comparing us, and I understand why we do it, comparing us to the rest of the country, I mean, even within the county, the temperatures in Letterkenny yesterday were almost uncomfortable. But you travel a little bit outside Letterkenny and towards the coast, and you could almost argue that you need to stick a hoodie on. So we have very big swings in temperatures within the county. The Finn Valley Voice this morning, they cover the tragic death of a Lifford man in Greece. Tributes have poured in following the tragic death of Donegal football administrator and manager Martin Duffy. Mr. Duffy, who was in his late 50s, drowned while on a family holiday in Greece on Monday morning. He was joint manager of the Donegal Schoolboys League in 2007, that team that competed in the Kennedy Cup and Foyle Cup tournaments recently. And the tributes continue for Mr. Duffy in that paper today. On to the nationals now, and rent prices hit record levels of supply plunges to an all-time low. The cost of renting has hit an all-time high, with supply at its lowest level since records began. Rents rose by 12.6% in the 3 months to June when compared to the same period last year, according to the latest daft.ie report. Now, the one thing, and I was supposing on this a little bit earlier on, is the daft.ie website, is that the absolute Bible when it comes to rents? Like, are all rental properties carried on the daft.ie website? They say supplies at its lowest level since records began, but they seem to be quoting the daft.ie report. I am sure there's plenty of properties out there. We have a great shortage of rental property, by the way. I'm not denying that we have more rental property than we do, but what I'm saying is that it seems that the figures from a commercial website like daft.ie are the be-all and end-all in terms of the media coverage of it. That is, I presume that's one platform that makes houses available to rent. But as I say, it's published as if these are the official state statistics. Maybe they are. Maybe daft.ie compile from competitors as well. I'm not sure. But anyway, we're witnessing the highest level of rental inflation since Daft first started compiling the rental index 16 years ago. The average monthly asking price hit $1,618 due to a chronic shortage of supply as small landlords leave the market in droves. Monthly rents in Dublin up 12.7% to $2,170. Let's just go straight to Donegal because that's what we're interested in, isn't it? On daft.ie's website, rents in Donegal have increased by 18.5% and now stand at €881 per month. And a glance across the country would suggest that outside of Leitrim, those are the lowest rents available. We pay the lowest rents if you can get a rental property. And this is only according to Daft. I'm not sure what's happening with private rentals or rentals through other websites. But anyway, in Donegal, the lowest rent outside of Leitrim, €881 per month. But we're hearing students getting quoted that for rooms. So I'm not sure how accurate it is. That's to say, the information is being taken as the Bible. But we have been told by some students that they're being asked close to that for the rental of a single room. So I don't know if that daft.ie report, and it's not to discredit in any way, shape or form, but I'm just not really sure if it actually tells the full picture. If you have a view on that, 086 60 25,000. As I say, it's reported, I think we carried the reports here, but in the newspapers across News Talk RT, as if this is just the fact that if they say they've got 700 properties to rent, that's all that's available. And is that the case? Let me know. As I say, we obviously are very, very short in rental property. There's just no doubt about that. On to the Irish Times now. Government urged to act on plan for Ukrainian refugees. The government has yet to act on a proposal to convert vacant buildings into accommodation for Ukrainian refugees on a non-profit basis, which was made months ago by the Housing Commission and some of the largest builders in the state. The Commission, established in 2020 under the Coalition's Programme for Government, approached the Department of Housing in late March regarding the scheme. It would see builders carry out some work on a pro bono basis, with costs of conversion recoupable after being independently verified. It was backed by Property Industry Ireland, the Irish Home Builders Association and Irish Institutional Property. Now, again, with the best will in the world, I'm not surprised this has happened because you can't get a builder at the moment. All people working in that industry seem incredibly busy. And are they going to put to one side paid work for pro bono work, even if they can recoup it at a later date? I think in reality, outside of the commitments, that would be hard to do. But Commission Chairman John O'Connor said the proposal was an attempt to use existing buildings to provide medium-term housing for Ukrainian people fleeing the Russian invasion in the country, which began on February 24th. Any assessment or design services would be on a pro bono basis and the construction work controlled. It was only the costs that should be paid, he said. But as I say, I'm not terribly surprised to see that hasn't progressed much. If you're a WhatsApp user, you probably have found yourself in a group, and I want your views on this. You can WhatsApp us. We won't add you to a group, I swear. 086 60 25,000. But, when you're in a group, you've been added to a group, and I'll get to my feelings on being added to groups in a moment, but you quit it, and everyone in it knows, right? So you're all added in. Greg quits the group, and people go, I wondered, what's up with him? Has he fallen out with someone? What's going on? What was said? Did I miss something? It's ridiculous that in this day and age it can be a thing, but it is a thing. But WhatsApp will now help you avoid those awkward goodbyes that come with quitting group chats. The messaging app is to allow users to leave without notifying others and control who can see when they are online as part of a privacy update to the app. As part of the update, which is rolling out this month, users will also be given the ability to block people from taking screenshots of view once messages, which are designed to disappear after being opened. The screenshot blocking tool is currently being tested, WhatsApp said, and would be released to users soon. Now, the biggest problem I have with this is, and it's not a problem because, there's a lot of problems, but just as a distraction, is being added to groups without your permission. Right? Why do they allow you to be added? It should say, Caroline tried to add you to this group. Do you want to accept or not? You should at that point be able to say no or yes, right? Being able to leave the group, the damage has been done at that stage. And also, too, if someone's organising a birthday party or something, they create this WhatsApp group like with 30 or 40 people in it. And, instead of sending individual texts, they say, we're having a birthday party on such and such a date. And we certainly don't send out invites anymore via the posters. That's something we can't even hark on about because it's so outdated. I don't know. But do you find being added to groups an annoyance on WhatsApp? And what are your feelings about exiting them? Have you got a strategy for getting out of a WhatsApp group, especially, with that flurry of conversation that can be in the first 5 minutes and then, it all goes quite quiet and you want to slip out? Do you slip out in the middle of the night or do you not care what other people think? Tell us what you think. 086 60 25,000. But I think if Meta were going to do anything, they should not allow you to be added to a group without your permission. Anyway, the Irish Daily Star. Sports organisations are set to see their funding cut unless at least 40% of their board members are women by next year. The threat to the pockets of sport bodies, unless they play ball, has come direct from Sports Minister Jack Chambers. He said if they don't hit the targets by the end of 2023, then will be financial consequences. Mr. Chambers is taking action in the wake of a string of great sporting success for Irish sportswomen. They include Kelly Harrington and Katie Taylor beating the world's best in boxing rings, and Rachel Blackmore taking away the biggest prizes in racing over the past few years. I noticed he was speaking on a radio station. It's not quoted. We get that all the time too for some reason. You know, people say something on this programme and it's lifted and used elsewhere, which is great, but wouldn't harm just to mention the radio station, I suppose. But anyway, people will do what they do. What do you think? Do you think sports organisations should have their money cut if there's not more women on their boards? There's plenty of women working very actively and keeping a lot of these groups and organisations running. I'm not sure if they're on the boards or not, clearly not. But do you think that, although they're trying to do something similar with boxing, it's not about a gender quota, but they threaten to cut funding, but don't really do so in any meaningful way. 086 60 25,000. We say it all the time in this programme, do not click a link in a text. Wherever you get the text from, if it's purporting to be from the Lotto, a bank, post office, credit union, you're going to be bombarded soon with messages from claiming to be from PTSB and from Ulster Bank. It's perfect for scammers because there's two banks leaving, and that means that they can exploit that to try and extort you out of the money. And boy, do they do it. Text message scams have cost victims on average €1,700 in the first half of this year, figures from Fraud Smart show. Now, when it says average of 1,700, could be $5,000 on one and, you know, tenner on another. Some people are getting hit huge. €1,700 is an awful lot of money. Well, Fraud Smart is warning people to be aware of messages seemingly to be from your bank about some form of problem. It says con man will likely target, and con women I'm sure as well, will likely target those changing accounts as Ulster Bank and KBC prepare to leave the Irish market. So please be aware, and these messages will come into the same threads that you may ordinarily get from both of these banks. Don't click a link, because once you click the link, the damage is done. Once you click the link, it'll take you to a website that looks like Ulster Bank or KBC or the HSE. The HSE scams are still going around. If you don't click, they never send you a link from a bank. They'll ask you to text back yes or no, perhaps, but that would be the height of it. Right, finally, in the Irish Daily Mirror, and I suppose this is good news for our high streets, there's been a 17% fall in online spending, reflecting a return to some pre-pandemic habits, research has revealed. The latest AIB Retail Spend Outlook report found that customers went back to significant spending on occasions and events in the second quarter of this year. Overall sales between April and June remained stable, recording a modest 1% decline year on year. The value of in-store sales saw an increase just 5% on last year, compared with a decline of 17% in online purchases. So people, if they have a bit extra money, they're spending it not just on shopping, on other things as well. But good to see in-store sales going up 5% there. The report said the movement from online to in-store spending came at a time when many coronavirus restrictions in the retail sector were removed in mid-May, allowing greater access to shops. Okay, that was a run through today's newspapers. Our first guest joins us on the show after we take this quick break.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure has everything you need for getting fit in 2022. From training gear to resistance bands, skipping ropes, weights and foam rollers, we have all the essentials to see you through every step of your fitness journey, from training to recovery. Shop our range of gym wear, equipment and accessories at michaelmurphysports.ie.
Make the most of the great weather with Homeland Summer Garden Clearance. There's the Omega 200 gas barbecue, €179. Save €50. Madrid patio planters, buy one get one free. Kids TV tent, only $29.99. Save €20. Shop the full range of offers in-store and online at homeland.ie while stocks last.
New this week in Home Store and More. All pet beds, toys and accessories are half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price pet beds, toys and accessories are gone, they're gone. Also, all 100% cotton children's duvet sets and all garden wall art is still half price. But when all the half price 100% cotton children's duvet sets and all the half price garden wall art is gone, they're definitely gone. Order online before 2 p.m. for next day delivery or drop by your local Home Store and More. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Hegarty's Auto Body Repairs in Letterkenny have been keeping cars on the road across the northwest for the past 50 years. Hegarty's are the only Ford-approved body shop in the northwest, but repair all makes and models. Paintless dent removal, windscreen replacement and restoration work. Hegarty's even mix their own paint. Approved by most insurance companies and certified Steel Standards Ireland. That's Hegarty's Auto Body, Letterkenny. For all vehicle repairs. See Hegartys.com.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto Jackpot is an estimated €2.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show. We welcome on to it now Liam Mulligan, who is Cahirloch with Aintu in Donegal. Good morning, Liam. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
Good to have you on the programme. Right now, you were in contact with us, weren't you, as it relates to the government strategy on housing Ukrainian refugees, and it was born from your own experience. Tell us what you've noticed or what you think the issue is.
Basically, when we worked out the online system for pledging, we pledged about mid-April to have 2 rooms. It took 2 months before the Red Cross. There was a quick check from a call centre, and then it took 2 months before the Red Cross started the identity confirmation process. It took 2 days to get through the Garda vetting, and then nothing happened. So after about a month, I tried to contact the Red Cross. The email didn't work. Then I happened to be at the McGill, and Pat Cox was an influential politician, and he was chairing the sessions on the Ukraine. I raised it with him. He found somebody in the department with the initials DCEDIY as the initials of the department. I think we normally shorten it to Department of Children, whatever else it does. And he found out after a week that our vetting was not recorded on the system. So it took him another week. And as of last Monday, he sent us, now you're on the system and the Red Cross will contact the county council to talk to you. So that's 3.5 months. And what set me up to call you was essentially the contracts for the hotels.
Just before we get to that, because that's an important point, the reality is as well too, Liam, if you hadn't been dogged on this, if you hadn't chased it up, you would never have been in the system at all. You had to pursue this, and I don't think many people would be as motivated.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily. I mean, I wouldn't know the way through what department to ring, what person to go on to, what person to hassle, knowing in reality that the Red Cross hasn't been given the resources, the departments haven't been given the resources to deal with this. But it was interesting that one of the excuses that given for not taking up pledges was that people weren't completing the Garda vetting. It was very interesting when I saw that the fella comes back to me and say, your Garda vetting, you didn't do your Garda vetting 5 weeks after the Garda had confirmed that I had done it.
Yeah, now I was listening to a spokesperson, and I will get to your wider point in a moment, but listening to a spokesperson from the Red Cross, they rejected any notion that they were under resources. They says they've got 50 plus workers working on this and it's no problem whatsoever. They claimed that the problem is that they can't get everyone in the house at the same time for a Zoom call to confirm the identities, and that you'd be familiar with the fact that you have to fill out a form within 30 days and people aren't filling it out within 30 days. So the Red Cross really very much put it on to the likes of yourself for not making everyone in the house available for a Zoom call and also not returning the forms in a timely fashion. But obviously your experience does not agree with that.
This is consistent. This is consistent throughout the whole story, that they're telling us stories that are simply not true. It's unfortunate. Who and why they're doing that is an open question. But it took almost the 2 months before they offered us an appointment of a Zoom call. And we took almost one of the earliest options for a Zoom call. And we had in an evening, and the Red Cross have to get people to work in an evening to get this. And we had everyone in the house in the evening to answer the Zoom call. and we did it. But it took almost 2 months to get that far. And then, as they say the people are not filling out the forms. What they mean is the people are not doing the Garda vetting. We did the Garda vetting within, and the Garda confirmed it within 48 hours of the Zoom call. The Garda had confirmed and had said, this is your contact in the Red Cross. And we had left it with them. And after a month, I just said to myself, I'll contact that contact in the Red Cross. And it came back, the email came back, could not deliver. And then it happened the next week. I was at the McGill, the session on Ukraine, and I said, give it a go, ask Pat Cox, can we do something about this? And I'll give them credit, and I was never, as you can imagine, I was never a fan of the PDs. But he said, I'm out of politics now, but I will do my best. And he knew the system, so he got in to the place to get somebody to contact us. And that's, without that, we would have been down as one of those who weren't filling out the forms.
No,
but we hadn't filled out the form.
This is not in any way a gotcha or anything like this here. I'm not interested in that game, Liam, but I'll ask you this before we get on to the wider point. Have you ever considered making these 2 rooms available for students? I'm not sure where you live, if you're close to Letterkenny, but you know there's a student accommodation crisis there.
Yeah.
And you actually would probably make quite a bit of money out of that. Or obviously there are families that have been homeless for quite some time in and around Letterkenny. So I'll ask before people ask. You understand where I'm coming from, Liam? Like, why would you feel motivated to offer these rooms to Ukrainians? Is it because it's possibly short term and you want to do something for humanity? And have you considered making these rooms available for, say, for instance, students who would bite your hands off for them?
No, I mean, this was in April, before the student accommodation had been given. They started to give student accommodation to the Ukrainians. So it was back in April we made, and then my wife said on Monday, when we got confirmation that they had contacted the county council, she said, well, if they don't show up by September, we will give these to students. You know,
fair play to you. Okay.
This is the situation.
At the end of the day, I mean, I'm going to people will text in, so I'm asking while you're with me. But in the end of the day, it's your property, and you choose what you wish to do with it. But you've made that very clear. Now, you were about to go into the economics of this, so I'll let you await that one, Liam. Go ahead.
Well, I did a calculation based on one of the lower figures I'd heard for the daily charge in hotels, and then if you took, say, 3 or 4 months of that for 2 people, and say the way we're set up, we could set up a room for a mother and a room for 2 children, so we might do more. You do the calculations, you work a discount, there had to be some time, there's elements of support costs. So we'd say, my estimate was that delay would cost the government about €25,000 based on the figures that are available. If you consider that they said there was 1,000 pledges that hadn't filled out the Garda vetting, that comes to €25 million. It's this element of not doing the things that need to be done. And you had it earlier on also, the doing up houses. Yes, there is a shortage of builders, but the government should be biting the hand off the Housing Commission to get them to go and set up. How would you do that? They haven't even bothered their behinds saying, how would you do that? And I know of a case of somebody who was looking at an old house that's not up to spec, and they talked to a builder to bring it at least partway up to spec for refugees or students. And the builder was willing to do it at as low a price as he could, not much more than cost price. He made a very, very good offer for it. But again, that was at the start of the process, and even now, it's the supply, what the builder is doing now. Would he be in a position to do it now? I don't know. That was months ago.
Yeah, this is what I think annoys the public, the general public, so much. In that, and I think particularly those, say, for instance, that are affected by the micro crises, because one of the sort of disinformation campaigns that was put out there was that the government has to be this is taxpayers' money here, and we have to be careful how we spend taxpayers' money, because we can't be rebuilding mansions in Donegal because it's taxpayers' money. Yet here we see, and you've given an example, a complete disregard, many would feel, for taxpayers' money. We saw it too at the beginnings and throughout the pandemic, where millions, if not hundreds of millions of taxpayers' money was fittered away on I mean, no one's investigated the massive contracts on vaccination centres that have lain empty. We're talking many, many millions. The PPE that I don't know if it ever arrived or was it ever fit for purpose. And now here, millions upon millions going to hotels when good citizens like yourself and thousands of others were very genuine in offering accommodation to help people fleeing a much more difficult life. Not being chased up, lost in the system only for your stubbornness in trying to get to the bottom of it, but at the same time dishing out taxpayers' money like it's confetti to hotels.
And this is the question, is about the willingness to face up to things. Father Tobin, the leader of the aim to put a question to Darragh O'Brien, the minister responsible for housing, laying out the challenge. We have to house the Ukrainians. We have to house the other asylum seekers. We have to house students. We have to do our backlog on normal housing. We have to house MICA people temporarily while the MICA work is done. Had he a strategy? What did the minister do? The minister accused Father Tobin of being against offering refuge to the Ukrainians. This is pure distraction. There seems to be an incapacity to deal with new things, to deal with emergencies.
Yeah, but it's not just Paddy Tobin. I mean, Padraig McLaughlin made comments on this programme that, in fairness to him, were taken out of context. And if you are in any way a dissenting voice to this, to our policies, or in any way question it, you are categorised of being anti-refugee. You know, and people are often critical. People are often critical of social media, right? But it's happening on mainstream media as well. That if people don't like what you say, you're shut down, or you're labelled with a very strong word or a very strong ideology because people don't want to hear what you've got to say.
This is the thing. It's the climate change issue. I know. I was a technocrat in Dublin. I know how people make the arguments for these high-level policies. But when you come down and you talk to people on the ground in Donegal and things like climate change, the climate change policies, I think there was a contributor on Friday pointed out, currently the subsidy on electric cars is a subsidy for the well-off. The stopping of the turf completely is failure to think through these things, what their actual effect is and what happens on the ground and what's needed in the whole thing. These are solutions that sound easy when you're in an office in Dublin. They're not so easy. And this is what Father voted against the Climate Change Act, not because we don't accept the fact, we accept the science, but how you're doing it, that just transition is purely an aspiration. So this comes through this. This is where this starts with the Ukrainians and things like that. For me, my immediate effect, we need to do something about accommodation. We have an absolute emergency in Letterkenny in September. Absolute emergency. It will not wait for student accommodation to be built in 2 or 3 years' time. It's needed now. Mm-hmm. And to quote Sherlock Holmes, when all possible solutions have failed, you must consider the impossible. Okay. So things that we would never want to do, we have to consider to do this September. Will we put a pile of mobile homes out in the car park in the, what we always call the IT, it's now ATU Letterkenny, and to put people into them because we have no other accommodation for them. They will lose their courses. They won't be able to attend their courses. It's an awful solution. It's an awful proposal. There must be some worse proposal available, less impossible proposal. But these are the sort of things we have to think about. We have to think about taking up an offer to do pro bono stuff. But we have to do something different.
Okay.
And that's where we are standing on into. We need to think differently. We need to get our civil servants to think differently, and we need to give them the chance to think differently.
All right. Listen, Liam, thanks for your time this morning. As I say, you're coming to a position as it relates to how we deal with the housing crisis, because you yourself have offered to give up 2 of your rooms in your home, and if it's not forthcoming for refugees because the system is not working well with you, well, then you'll do it for students too. So you're actually putting your money where your mouth is. So thanks very much for your time this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. That's Liam Mulligan there, a citizen, I suppose, as it relates to his dealings with the state and the Red Cross in terms of trying to make that accommodation available. But as he mentioned, and why wouldn't he use the opportunity to mention it? He's also the Cearloch of Aintu here in County Donegal. What's your views there? 086 60 25,000.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Now offering MyCU current account and debit MasterCard, bringing full banking features, delivered with the same local trustworthy service of your credit union.
The big bucks are back. 4 Fridays.
4 winners.
Plus 1 lucky jackpot.
Oh, that didn't work.
€2,500 every Friday.
And on the 4th Friday,
September 2nd.
Someone also wins
10,000 cash money.
Go to HighlandRadio.com
and get your €10 ticket. It's a whole new meaning to cash flow. Highland Radio.
Summer's just got better.
Get a great Clarence gift this week from McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. Buy 2 Clarence skincare products, one to be moisturiser or serum, and you'll get a choice of 3 treat-sized essentials from a selection of 8. But which 3 will you choose? This great Clarence offer is available while stocks last. In store at McGee's Chemist Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie, where the best costs less. For any skincare advice, call in and talk to the resident skincare consultants, Mary or Gemma.
At Cherrymore Kitchens and Bedrooms, we are now operating out of one new state-of-the-art showroom in Donegal Town. And we invite you to visit our new 5,000 square foot Donegal Town showroom to discover the latest eye-catching designs. Remember, at Cherrymore, you're dealing directly with the manufacturer, which means high-quality kitchens at factory prices. Start planning your dream kitchen or bedroom by calling Cherrymore on 074 9725 822. Cherrymore, 25 years delivering value, quality and service all over Ireland.
It's time for a new Nissan 222. We have an award-winning range, so call into iMotors Nissan in Letterkenny or Malin with the new Nissan Qashqai and Nissan Micra available for immediate delivery.
Suffering from hearing loss? Kingsbridge Hearing Care has arrived in the Northwest. Yes, we have a brand new clinic location at Kingsbridge Private Hospital in Ballykelly and can offer you a full range of hearing care provision, including enhanced hearing assessments and earwax removal treatment. So, what are you waiting for? Don't let hearing loss hold you back. Get in touch with our expert audiology team today. Call us on 048 9066 7030 or visit kingsbridgehearingcare.co.uk.
Good morning to Michael, Rosemary, DJ and Beth watching with us across social media on our website. You can join them, Highland Radio Ireland on YouTube or Facebook pages or on our website, highlandradio.com. To some of your comments coming in, my friend's house has been badly impacted with mica. It'll cost the government €420,000, so she has to come up with nearly €100,000 herself. She can't afford this. She wants to downsize, but that's not being accepted. It just makes sense. This would save the taxpayer money, as downsizing wouldn't use the full amount. And unfortunately, that formed part of the huge controversy in terms of what the government wouldn't do, what demands it wouldn't meet. It never made any sense. It still doesn't make any sense. What people wanted to do is accept a grant for the house that they have, and rather than have to contribute to the building themselves, and why should they, because it's not their fault, they would build a smaller house using the same amount of money. But they says no, that can't be done, and it still doesn't sit right, and it still doesn't make any sense. A caller is making an appeal for any dentist that will take them. I've surgery on Thursday that's come as a surprise. I need 2 crowns replaced before I go in for the operation because it's in that area. If anyone could help me, I'd be greatly appreciated. They're in Donegal. I presume they'd be prepared to travel. Any dentist available that could fit a couple of crowns before Thursday? They're getting it difficult getting an appointment. A caller says, once again, the weather is getting good, but public toilets are getting disgusting. Why can't there be a designated person to man the upkeep of the toilets? We got caught out when my small child needed the toilet and they were too dirty to use. And we hear that all the time. Some of them are in great shape, others unusable. I don't know what. Is it how busy they are? Is it how they're maintained? But it's a problem that comes up every single year. Another caller says, I've had a few parcels sent from the States this year. this last few years. Why now do we have to pay custom charges here to receive the parcel, while also they pay custom charges to send in the States when sending? Is it because they're travelling via Britain? Why would someone knows? I'm only supposing. I haven't a clue. But why would someone be paying custom charges on parcels from the United States now when they hadn't previously? Someone out there knows. Let me know. Right, Edward Grant is Student Union President at Atlantic Technological University, Letterkenny. Edward, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
I just wanted to get an update from you on the situation as it relates to the student accommodation crisis, and I think we can label it a crisis. That's where we're at now.
100%. Like at this point, it's getting really, really bad, to be honest. We are planning to release our list now next Monday. We are sitting at 123 rooms. That's a reduction of over 200 from last year's numbers.
What is the demand versus availability? Can we speculate, and I wouldn't hold you to it, Edward, but how many students do you think are currently looking for accommodation in Letterkenny but cannot either get it or are priced out of it?
This time last year when I was taking statistics based on the number of students I had just ringing me. Now, obviously that isn't comparative to the whole population there, because a lot of them won't know the student union or the services we provide, but I had about 300 students call me within a week at this time last year. We've been told by the college to expect greater numbers to be applying this year because of the university status. So I can imagine that there's going to be in excess of 300 people looking for accommodation coming into Letterkenny.
Yeah, and there's a few factors here which are making it worse. Obviously, there is a general reduction in rooms available for whatever reason. One big accommodation provider has pulled out. And also, there's an issue with international students that may perhaps have previously stayed in Northern Ireland, unable to do so now post-Brexit.
Yeah, so a lot of international students now are just a little bit wary of going across the border because of the visa requirements that came in. We've linked in with a couple of campaigns to try and say there would be a way to get an exception to that there for students, but again, it's a long battle and not something we see changing within the next year anyway. The biggest issue we have at the moment coming into this year is we've been to expect greater student numbers. The CAO placements have gone up again this year, and yet we're only seeing 19 new applicants on our list this year. It's just the local infrastructure isn't able to keep up with the numbers that the college are putting out.
We can talk about what needs to be done in the medium term or long term, but what fixes the problem between now and the start of the students' year effectively? Are we back again appealing to anyone who may have a spare room that would be interested in making money off that room to make themselves known? Is that where we're at? Or are we looking at towns on the outskirts of Letterkenny or 10, 20 miles away and organising buses? Or, what options are being looked at?
All of the above, Greg, to be honest. We've been appealing through every method of communication we have available to us for landlords to apply on. We've even been in the local parish newsletters across Donegal this past couple of weeks trying to see if anybody has rooms. We're looking to see if there is localised hubs of students around the country or places that might have been inaccessible to students without a car, so we can lobby for more rural transport schemes to access those areas so students can avail of them. But unfortunately, no matter what we do, it's just not enough at this stage.
We've seen an initiative whereby people can be paid by the state to house Ukrainian refugees and it not impact, their tax status. I think some people might be afraid that if they start renting out a room that it could have broader consequences for them, move them into different tax brackets, or they could lose benefits or whatever it might be, or assistance, if you know where I'm coming from. There's no such scheme for students. Is that a possibility that maybe more people, if they could provide this accommodation at a set rate even, but not find themselves being disadvantaged from a tax perspective greatly, could that help? Is that a short-term measure that might actually make more rooms available?
It's actually a scheme that's been in place for a number of years, the rent room relief. You get a certain amount of tax credits back for renting a room to any individual. It doesn't have to be per se a student. I'm not sure on the exact figures off the top of my head, but it's a scheme that's been in place, and it's a scheme that we advertised last year to any potential landlords reaching out, but Again, I think the issue is that 10 years ago, accommodation should have been built, it wasn't, and now we're just at the crux of that issue.
Yeah, indeed. So what's going to happen? Because, we're hearing stories now of students preparing to sleep in their car. Now, for the next 2 or 3 days, maybe that would be in some way manageable. It's no way for anyone to live. But that's not hotel accommodation is not a long-term option. So what's going to happen to a lot of students, do you think, that simply can't get accommodation?
I think we're going to see monumental rates dropping out from across the country, and a lot of people trying to postpone starting their course until they're able to get accommodation. Again, it's really going to negatively affect the incoming students we have, the year that they're going to have ahead, the freshers' weeks and everything else. The social aspect is going to just decline rapidly because no one's able to get into the town to experience what college life should be.
I appreciate your efforts and the efforts of the Students' Union. Is the ATU itself doing enough on this issue? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they've commented publicly. It doesn't mean they haven't, because I haven't heard it. But what are their plans? Are they looking to draw down funds now they have university status and start building accommodation? Where? What are the plans? How much are we talking? I mean, has the university itself done much to try and help the students?
The university have been very good at meeting us. Trying to get university-wide action has been a bit of a difficulty, but again, it's just because it's such a large entity and there's so much power needed to start the ball moving. They have been looking into trying to access drawdown funds, but unfortunately there's a distinction when it comes to legislation between a technological university and a traditional university. So it isn't something that has been accessible to them yet. They have plans to build accommodation. They have land there for the accommodation, but again, it's just getting access to those funds. And it's something that we're currently, the union, lobbying the government on to provide a capital grant for universities to either build accommodation or buy and renovate existing accommodation from more urbanised areas.
Yeah, Ina's messaged on YouTube to say people with a room to let can lease it out and earn up to €14,000 tax-free, which is perhaps what might certainly, I think maybe providing that for a student, you'd fall under that bracket. So, I mean, at the very least, even if my question was ignorant to begin with, it's good to get that information out there, because I think the concern I outlined might be a concern some might have. So it's worth people who are interested in this but thought the scenario was as I suggested, to see, what they can earn without it having to be taxed. You know what I mean? So it's no harm to get that information out there. So in terms of, at the moment, the appeal for people to make rooms available, are we looking at Drumkeen now? Kilmacrennan, even further out. I mean, what's the story now? Where do you want to hear from people?
Anywhere in the Donegal area, to be perfectly honest, Craig. Last year we had students staying out by the Donegal airport, and I know that isn't an ideal situation, but it's better than having to travel from Dublin every day, which was the case for a number of students last year. We had a student come up to me in the office in tears because she had been getting the bus every morning and was landing in the lectures late, and she felt that she was being singled out by lecturers for landing in late because they weren't aware of the situation that she was in. And no one should be in that situation for lecturers to have to try and combat that.
Right. A caller says there's plenty of accommodation for students in Creaslet and Dunfanaghy, and there are there's three bus services that can bring them in and out to Letterkenny several times a day.
There is accommodation in the town. It's just not nearly enough to facilitate the demand that we have.
Are students hanging on to see what they can get in Letterkenny before they start looking outside of Letterkenny? In other words, when the dust settles, will we have enough accommodation for everyone? But it does mean that some people are going to have to sit in a bus for an hour every morning and evening.
There will be people sitting on a bus for an hour. There's already people applying for accommodation that far away. Students are desperate at this stage. I think they saw the issues that were there last year, and they are trying to push to get rooms. Part of the reason our numbers are so low this year is because Ballerina Halls is already full of students who had pre-booked from the last year, who were the students that weren't able to get accommodation the year previous and had to postpone their start, or students who are going into the second year booking because there were such issues last year.
Mm-hmm. All right. Do you want to hear from people who have rooms available wherever they might be within reason in the county?
Yeah, if you can go on the Student Union website, or you can go on any of our social medias and find our contact details. Reach out and we will try our best to process you by the end of the week to get you on the list for the start. If you can, just anybody who has a room available at all, no matter where it is around Donegal, it'll definitely suit someone. And that's the message we're trying to put out, is that it's not a case now that we need to vet. It's not a case now that we need to try and get the optimum rooms. We need any rooms available for students.
Okay, and what do they search? What do they search to get the to find you? Is it Letterkenny Student Union? Is it, or what?
It's still LYTSU is the website address.
Okay, listen. Thanks for your time this morning. Take care of yourself. I do appreciate your time. Right. Now, key planks of government's climate plan face legal challenges from the oil industry. The energy plan, devised as part of the EU goals to become climate neutral by 2050, face a threat from the oil industry. Under EU rules, Ireland must make a specific amount of energy savings within the next decade, with a large part of those savings being made through a scheme that requires suppliers to support efficiency projects in businesses and homes across Ireland. The scheme is being revised by the Department of the Environment, and under new changes, suppliers of energy used in transport will see their targets substantially increased. Now, it's understood that Fuels for Ireland, the industry body representing oil importers and distributors, will bring a judicial review against the plans when the new scheme is unveiled in the coming months. But what does this actually really all mean? There's a lot of word soup going on there. Kevin McPartland is the CEO of Fuels for Ireland, and he joins us right now. Good morning to you, Kevin. Thanks for joining us again.
Morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Kevin. So can you tell us what are the likely issues, or the issues the Fuels for Ireland have with these government plans that might lead to action?
Yeah, so there's been, over many, many years, there's been the Energy Efficiency Obligation Scheme, in which we and other providers of energy make efforts and have met all of the targets that have been set for us to reduce the energy which is consumed in various different ways. And so that has traditionally been done through funding retrofitting of homes, funding sort of insulation programs, those things, and also in industry. Also, it's funded some fleet customers to offer training to them to increase their energy efficiency.
So is it kind of like, that's kind of offsetting, really, in layman's terms, is it?
Well, no, it's actually preventing energy being consumed.
Right.
So
okay.
It's preventing the amount of product that you actually need. So what has happened in the last couple of years is the government has decided that they're going to make the responsibility for increasing the efficiency of transport one which sits predominantly on oil companies and therefore our consumers. But if you look at how you actually increase the efficiency of energy use in the transport sector, it's not something over which we have any control. It's actually about having regular, safe public transport. It's about giving people options for active transport, cycling and pedestrian. And I know that's slightly urban in its focus, but it does have a relevance in some of the larger towns in Donegal, for example. What this means is that if the government fails to meet its targets for public transport and for active transport, and let's be frank, we have a pretty poor record of meeting targets, then we would be faced to pay the penalties for that, and cash penalties, and there would be, very, very significant sums, the sort of sums that could lead to an increase of 2, 3, 4 cents per litre charged to home heating oil and transport fuel consumers. So we don't think that's fair.
Is it fair to say that really the government themselves don't think certain targets can be achieved, so they pass it over to your members and giving you unachievable targets and expecting you to stump up, maybe shifting the blame and responsibility away from themselves onto the likes of your members?
I think it means that they have no incentive to meet the targets because they don't pay the penalties. We do, and our consumers do. So if what we're trying to do is reduce or to increase energy efficiency in the transport sector, then that means it's how transport is actually achieved, what we do. And we don't have control over those things. So we're being asked to pay or likely to pay a penalty for something over which we have no control. We don't think it's fair, and more importantly, it's not lawful. So that's why if the statutory instrument which is required to implement this policy is published, and it is as we have been led to expect it to be, it seems very likely that we'll take a judicial review on that.
Yeah. Are you hoping that talking about this publicly in advance might discourage the government from going down this road?
Am I so blatant, Greg? Yes, that's exactly what we're hoping for. We've been speaking to government on this for a long, long time. We've been saying, look, we need to sit down and work this out and find out a way of doing this, because we all know that we have to, address our energy usage, particularly in the current context. And we've talked about that a few times. We all know that we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So there's no disagreement on the objectives. What we're saying is we cannot, and our consumers cannot be held responsible for a failure on the part of the government.
Yeah. Okay, now I know you've said in all of our interviews you don't have a crystal ball, and we understand that, but we are seeing seemingly a downward trend, albeit from a high rate of fuel, petrol, diesel, even home heating oil. Is that likely to continue?
Well, I still don't have a crystal ball, so I don't want to mislead anybody. But I think what we're looking at is some of the factors that created more and more instability have settled down. So I think what we are seeing right now is a reflection of a bit more stability that's come into the market, and stability is something which we all crave and would be good for consumers.
Also, the threat of instability, I presume, concerns over a recession is having an impact on the raw product price.
It is, but so is currency pricing, and also then you look today, even Russia shut off some oil supply to Southern Europe overnight. So there are so many different elements to this. But what we're saying right now, things seem to be much, much calmer, and markets hate uncertainty, and risk gets priced into markets. So that seems to have been taken out, and that's why we're experiencing lower prices, as you say, albeit from a higher average level in recent months. We're experiencing lower prices now, and we hope that will continue.
And again, I'm trying to get some guidance from you, but without making you feel that you could be held to this. But I mean, could we see, another, say, for instance, over the course of 6 weeks, 10 cent coming off a litre or something? I mean, is that the type of trends in the environment we are currently in that we could look forward to? Or
I genuinely don't know.
I get you, yeah.
But I think what we're saying is we have a bit of stability right now, and I think stability would be good for everybody.
All right, Kevin, listen, thanks for your time as always. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care. That's Kevin McPartland, Fuels for Ireland. So what we can tell you about the cost of your home heating oil and petrol and diesel in the latter part of that interview is that there's no guarantees that the downward trend would continue, but things from their market's perspective seem stable enough as it stands. But something could happen today which could change all of that. But anyway, just trying to get some indication for you out there, because I think a lot of people too are wondering, if they have the money, is now the time to sort of maybe fill up the oil tank? I think that's a conversation a lot of people might be having. Or is the price going to continue to trickle downwards and maybe one should wait a little bit later? I don't know the answer to it, and maybe you've got something from Kevin's comments there that might help you make that decision. 08660 25,000, WhatsApps and texts to that number, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. We're back with more in the 9 till noon show after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
SMEs all over Ireland. You're just fab. That's not it. You're the bee's knees. I've got it. You're the business. Because many of you are now using digital to take your business to the next level. Whether you'd like to get online, grow online, or go global, check out, wait for it, You're the Business, the new digital training programme for Irish SMEs. Visit g.co/You're the Business. Brought to you by Google in partnership with Enterprise Ireland and your local Enterprise office. Nailed it.
For a Portaloo for any event, contact the exclusive stockists in Donegal. Gortley Sales and Hire. Long-term and short-term quotes available for parties, festivals, weddings or any event across the county. Contact Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny on 9126 276.
The award-winning Genesis Aesthetics and Skincare Clinic Udor now offers a wide range of skin boosters. The injectable moisturiser for under eyes that improves dark circles, fine lines and wrinkles. Also treating the face, neck, chest and hands. This amazing treatment works from the inside out, resulting in brighter, smoother, plumper skin. For help choosing the right aesthetic treatment for you, contact Mary Ferry, your aesthetic practitioner. You can download the Genesis app or call 074 953 2575.
Exam results arriving? Your future starts at Northwest Regional College.
Visit our results days to confirm your place or apply for a course at our Derry, Strabane or Limavady campuses. Call 048 7127 6000 or visit nwrc.ac.uk/results. This is Northwest Regional College. This is your future.
Raymond Sweeney here from Ben Sweeney Euronics to let you know about the Blomberg Integrated Dishwasher, which can save you time and money. When you're pressed for time, you can choose a quick 30-minute or 58-minute wash cycle or an intelligent auto program for perfect wash results every time. The German-engineered inverter motor means it operates at low noise level, so it's whisper quiet. And there's a 7-year parts and labour warranty for peace of mind. Call in and see for yourself at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, or in the shopping centre Dunlow.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Ireland is over the peak of the current wave of COVID-19. According to the HSC, the number of patients in hospital has dropped significantly over the last month, while the amount of positive antigen tests being recorded is also down. It comes as over 50s are being invited to book second booster vaccines this month. Persons over 60 can book appointments from next Monday. Persons over 50 from August 22nd. The Chief Clinical Officer, Dr. Colm Henry, says the signs are that the current COVID wave is slowing.
Just yesterday, we had 355 people in hospital who were testing positive for COVID. About half of those were sick with COVID. Back in mid-July, it was over 1,000. Intensive care, about 32 in intensive care beds with COVID, and that peaked to just over 40 in mid-July, showing the big difference between this particular surge and those early, very difficult days back in 2020.
The PSNI is urging people who were victims of mother and baby institutions, Magdalen laundries and workhouses to come forward, with a particular appeal to those in the border counties and elsewhere in the Republic. These institutions housed many, including pregnant women and girls from 1922 to 1990 in Northern Ireland, who often felt coerced into giving up their children. Thousands are said to have entered the institutions over a 68-year period since then. An investigation has now been launched. Officers in a dedicated investigation team have received 57 reports, including from some others who haven't met their children since they were born. Detective Superintendent Gary Reid is leading the investigation. He believes there are people in Donegal and elsewhere in the Republic who are affected by this issue.
If you look at the report that was compiled and the research around this, there is a cross-border element. You know, the island of Ireland is a small place around. But we're also working with our colleagues in the An Garda Síochána as well. So we link in with them once a month to see if there has been anything that they can update us. But there's definitely a cross-border element to this. We have a dedicated phone line, and we also have a dedicated email address. Now, that's on our police website.
A new 30% tax rate would benefit over 1 million people. It's been suggested as a way to ease the cost of living crisis for middle income earners, with a number of government ministers set to be in favour of the move. The Department of Finance will today publish its tax strategy group papers outlining the options for next month's budget, with one of the papers suggesting a 30% rate would benefit 1 million Irish taxpayers if implemented. Well, business journalist Joe Lynham says Irish tax rates do not at present compare well with our neighbours.
Up to €36,000 they will pay a rate of 20% income tax. After that, they will pay 40%. And a lot of people feel that's a very low threshold to start paying the high rate of tax. I had a quick look at other countries in Europe. The UK, it is €60,000 before they start paying their 40% income tax rate. In Germany, it's €282,000 before they start paying, but it's 49% income tax rate.
With temperatures set to rise even further in some parts of the country in the coming days, people are being warned of the potential dangers of swimming in open water. They're also being urged not to be overconfident in the water and to know their own limits. Roger Sweeney is acting CEO of Water Safety Ireland. He's reiterated the dangers of swimming in seas, lakes and rivers. And in particular, he's urging people not to take inflatable toys into the water.
Have you made sure that the kids don't bring inflatable toys to open water? They can be taken out by a rip current or by an offshore breeze, and you yourself can get into difficulty if you try and retrieve them. And have you made arrangements to make sure that any children that are going to the waterways are supervised? And by supervision, we mean close, uninterrupted adult supervision.
at the weather forecast, and Meharan tell us it will be warm, dry and sunny today. Highest temperatures 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. Winds light variable or calm with a sea breeze developing in the afternoon. A moderate southwest winds will keep it cooler on the coast. Tonight it'll be dry and clear with lowest temperatures 9 to 13 degrees Celsius with no wind. Tomorrow Thursday, dry, warm and sunny. Highest temperatures on Thursday of 24 to 26 degrees Celsius. Sea breezes again in the afternoon, and it'll stay cooler along the coast. Well, that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, from the news team, good morning.
Obituary notices for Wednesday morning, August 10th. The death has taken place of Lily Devine, née Cairns, 38, Coram Road, Kenahan, Strabane, and formerly of Ballacht, Sion Mills. Reposing at her home today from 2 p.m. Funeral leaving her home on Friday at 9:25 a.m. for Requiem Mass in St Joseph's Church, Glengorman, at 10 a.m. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to Melmount Manor Residents Comfort Fund, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The death has taken place of Maura Moody, Kiltoll, Convoy. Remains reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for funeral mass at 11 a.m. in St Mary's Church, Convoy, with burial afterwards in the old cemetery in the family plot. House private to family and friends, family time on the morning of the funeral. Rosary tonight in the family home. Family flowers only, please. Donations, if desired, to Brinley Manor Nursing Home, care of Terence McClintock, Funeral Director, or any family member. The death has occurred of Margaret Carr, Knock Lion, Dublin, and formerly of Fanad, Donegal. Reposing in Fanahan's Funeral Home, Woolbrook Street, Rathfarnham, this evening from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Removal tomorrow afternoon to St Columkille's Church, Knock Lion, for funeral mass at 1 o'clock, followed by committal in New Lands Cross Crematorium. Family flowers only, please. Funeral mass can be viewed live on Knock Lion Parish YouTube page. The death has occurred of Charlie McFadden, Treen Keel, Brina. Charlie's remains are reposing at his late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow morning, going to St Columba's Church, Glenswilly, for 11 a.m. Requiem Mass with interment afterwards in Kilfeek Cemetery. Family flowers only. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. until 11 a.m. with family, neighbours and friends only, please, on the morning of the funeral. And the death has taken place of Kathleen Desmond, née Cannon, 22, Altnagelvin Park, Derry. Funeral from her home this afternoon at 12:30 p.m. for 1 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Ardmore. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 p.m. to 11 a.m. The Mass can be viewed live via the church webcam. Donations in lieu of flowers, if wished, to Ark Recovery Business Park, Bay Road, Derry. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. Just want to give you a quick mention, by the way, in case you're not aware, that we have a big summer mega cash giveaway here over the course of the next month. We're going to be giving away €20,000 in total. 2.5 grand every Friday over the next 4 weeks, and then a bumper 10 grand on the final Friday. Now, if you want to enter all 5 draws, you can buy your ticket between now and Friday morning. They're €10 each, by the way. Or if you buy, I better make sure I don't get that wrong. If you buy 100, if you buy 80, you get 100. If you buy 50, you get 60. Sorry, if you spend 50, you get 6. If you spend 80, you get 10. That's what it is. But if you want to be in all 5 draws, get on our website right now, highlandradio.com. You'll be in with a chance of winning. And it's a really good chance, by the way, of winning €2,500. As I said yesterday, there's some competitions of massive scale. This is for us here in the Northwest. So your odds are going to be better than some, you can be sure of that. You can buy your ticket right now. It's a tenner if you can afford it and you want to play for a bit of fun. Go on our website, highlandradio.com. We've got €2,500 for you on Friday. But the big thing is if you buy your tickets over the next couple of days, you're in all 5 draws. You don't have to do anything again then at all. And the more tickets you buy, the better value you will get per ticket. So go on our website, highlandradio.com. You can enter there. You should see you will see the button to click. Now, if you're not on the internet, you don't want to do it that way, you can give us a call on 07491 25,000. We have people ready to take your call now if you prefer to do it with a person. And if you have to, in other words, if you don't want to phone or if you don't want to do it online, you can call into us here at the Mountain Top in Letterkenny. But just to reiterate, because I want everyone to have as many chances as possible, if you buy your tickets between now and Friday morning, you enter all 5 draws, and then you can just sit back and listen to your favourite radio station over the next 4 weeks, and your number could be pulled out. Maybe you like lower numbers. I think if you order early, you might get a lower number. I'm not sure what the ins and outs of that is, but I'm sure that's the case. So just to recap finally, website highlandradio.com, click the link, enter there. You can give us a call if you prefer to do it with one of our team, 07491 25,000, or if all else fails, you can call up to the station here. But enter in the next couple of days, and then you're automatically entered into all 5 draws, and you don't need to do another thing after that. Back after the break.
It's time for Ncbi Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 10th of August. You're playing on the blue sheet. The reference number is S18. It's game number 32. The numbers are 81, 31, 82, 67, 35, 48, 52, 86, 23, and finally 44. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate holiday loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
The legends are coming.
The legends of golf are coming.
The countdown is on. Yes, there are only a number of days to the start of the Irish Legends. Presented by the McGinley Foundation, the event takes place at Rosapenna Hotel and Golf Resort. Tuesday the 16th, the fairways will be filled with celebrities from the world of sport and entertainment. And Thursday the 18th is the start of the professional competition. Witness some of the greats of the game, including Ryder Cup captains, major winners, taken to the links of Rosapenna over 3 days. Will it be up to the challenge? Tickets now on sale at legendstour.com. Irish Legends, presented by the McGinley Foundation.
Is your current car ready for change? If so, now is a good time to visit DMG Motors Donegal Town. Choose from their Skoda range, including the Fabia, Scala, Superb, Karoq, Kodiaq, Kamiq, Octavia and the all-new electric Enyaq. Now available for delivery. All fitted with the latest technology, Skoda Connect, with a whole new range of simply clever features. DMG Motors have made buying a new car affordable with finance available on all new vehicles. Test drive the new Skoda today. Call 97213996. Skoda, made for Donegal.
Patterson's massive summer sale now on. Fantastic discounts across all departments. Beds, mattresses, appliances, dining tables, chairs, sofas and garden furniture. Up to 50% off all X-Display kitchens. Patterson's the Hall Lifford. The massive summer sale for 1 week only.
Everyone loves a night out at the cinema. There's a whole new experience waiting for you at the Regal Room Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford and Strabane. Enjoy an old-style luxury classic cinema with a modern twist. Relax and unwind with a nice glass of wine, some hot food, or maybe a pizza. For a great night out, book your seats at the Regal Room Eclipse Cinemas, Lifford and Strabane.
Are you worried about trees on your property? Northwest Forestry Services Ballybuffet are fully insured and have over 40 years experience in dangerous tree removal, tree felling, surgery and stump grinding. For peace of mind, call Northwest Forest Services Ballybuffet for a no obligation quotation on 913233.
At Ulster Bank, we are closing. And as a bank that is closing, we've reduced some of our services. What this means for our customers is reduced counter services in branch, no foreign exchange or night save services, and less Ulster Bank ATMs. For customers who still have current or deposit accounts, you really do need to start considering other options. Our branches remain open, and we are here to help. Switch your clothes at any Ulster Bank branch or log on to ulsterbank.ie. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Now, a new annual report just released as it relates to the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit has found that 78 individuals sought out the Letterkenny facility in 2020. It's a 29% drop on the previous year. 23 of Donegal's sex assault complaints were children under 18, 7 were men. The majority of those who attended, 53 of them, were aged 25 or under, and referrals from secondary schools increased slightly by 2% compared to 2019. However, there was a marked decrease of 15% from third-level colleges. Connie McGilloway is a registered advanced nurse practitioner at the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit and joins us on the programme now. Connie, thanks for your time this morning. Greatly appreciated.
No problem, Greg.
I suppose when we look at these figures and we talk about comparisons and we want to make sure that we're reading them correctly, do we have to factor in the pandemic, the impact it may have had on these figures, or do the timelines not match up, or what's your view?
Well, definitely in 2020, it impacted on the people presenting to the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit and other services. I think in relation to restrictions and not being able to access, not being able to move really was an issue. It didn't prevent people from coming forward. People still did come forward in 2020. As you can see, there was a drop of 29% from the previous year, but it was still quite a marked number of people that were presenting to the service. With third level colleges gone at that time, then you know the number of students within this area wouldn't have been there. So that was a big change during the pandemic, but that then increased again in 2021.
And what do you think this tells us about the instance of sexual assault? Do we know what proportion of people might be inclined to seek out the services of the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit versus those that might not, that it's not a path that they choose? Well,
I think the people that do present nationally to the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit, it tends to be right across the board. Is the mean age would be the mean age would be 24 on an average basis throughout from year to year. That sort of 23, 24, 25 would be the average age of people presenting to the Donegal or to all sexual assault treatment units in the country, including the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. So that would align with international research, where that group from 18 to 25 or 18 to 35 would actually come forward to seek help. In relation to people who don't come forward to seek help, sexual violence is extremely traumatic. And with that, there's a lot of self-blame. There's a lot of feeling that people think that they won't be believed, because if you take it that on average 90% plus of people that that perpetrate sexual violence are actually known to the person that has been affected, then that actually puts a massive barrier in place to come forward. And what we want to do is try and encourage people to come forward. It doesn't matter, that they will be believed, that they will be cared for, and they will be looked after by the agencies that work in this area.
It's important to point out at this point too, I wonder, and I believe it is the case, Connie, that engaging with the services of the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit, that can be about the care of the person and support of that person, that it doesn't necessarily trigger a series of events. In other words, someone does not have to pursue this with the Gardaí or potentially even end up in court. That can be a decision for a later date, and that's their decision. But if you are the victim of a sexual assault, you should go to the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. Is that a reasonable assessment? Because I think people might think, well, yeah, but you'll tell the guards and then you might go to court. And they're not maybe in that, brain space yet to be able to make those kind of calls.
And that is a very good summation of it, Greg, from the point of view that the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit is all about the healthcare and the holistic care needed for patients that present, and even the use of the word patient. That's everybody that comes through our door. That is how we recognize them as patients. So, with that, now, of course, in saying that, there are legal, we are mandated persons. So anybody who is under the age of 18, who hasn't reached the age of majority of 18 and is seen as a child within this country, whether they're a mature minor or not, there has to be a report. We are mandated to make a report.
And they're under the care of others, and I think that everyone would understand the importance of that and why that has to be done for sure.
So
especially if they were in an ongoing situation which they themselves couldn't actually make a decision to exit. I think it's also worth noting too that not far off 10% of those that sought help were males, and I don't know if we can conclude that males may be less inclined to come forward. I don't know if that is the case or if it's not, but it's a significant proportion of the overall figure, I think.
Yeah, and it is that males do find it very difficult to come forward. They, along with that, and that would align again with the national service and international statistics would show the lack of males coming forward. But it also recognises the fact that 1 in 6 incidents of sexual violence actually are perpetrated against males. So it is a very small number that come forward. And, there's a lot of research in relation to why males don't come forward, and everything from the fact of that they may be deemed as something that they're not, and, that this fact of they would be seen as less than a person. There's lots of reasons why males don't come forward. But we would encourage anybody, males, females, or any gender identity, to present to the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit for support. And we're there. It's 24-hour service, and work 7 days a week. So there's a very dedicated team. We also work very much from a sexual assault response team. We I suppose, look at it from the fact of the importance of collaborative practice, because historically in this country and elsewhere, one of the biggest issues was that maybe somebody informed an agency, and then that agency didn't inform somebody else. So everybody was working in silos. And the importance of the Sexual Assault Response Team, which incorporates not only the Rape Crisis Centre, Domestic Violence Service, and Garda Síochána, TUSLA, and ourselves, is the importance that we're all working for the benefit of that person on an individual basis that comes forward. And everything is done at that person's pace and based on what that person wants to happen. So it's not something that is forced on somebody. Nothing is forced on a person that comes forward. It's very much looked at from the fact of what they want to happen. And that doesn't matter what age the person is.
But the the thing you very likely need care, and that's what is provided.
Absolutely.
After that,
yeah.
you'll be supported in whatever your decision is made for, obviously, adults. Now, the majority of those, as you mentioned, are under 25. The average age or medium age, 24, I presume that's what you said. I can't be naive in thinking that must mean that it's only people under 25 that are the victims of a crime like this. So what does that tell us, do you think, about people that are over 25 and that are victims? Are they unaware of the services? Are they less inclined to come forward? Because I'm thinking of, there must be then hundreds of people that haven't seen help or sought help, aged over 25. That's heartbreaking. So what's your reading as the expert about the age demographic, and what do we need to be doing, or where are the gaps that we're not seeing the older age groups coming forward?
Well, I suppose one of the things that is important to recognise is that it is what we call the mean age. So we are seeing people from all age groups,
Yeah, I'm just wondering, I'm sorry to cut across you. I just wonder, are there lots of posters in colleges? Are universities handing out flyers to students? In secondary schools, is the same thing happening? Is there some sort of guidance? I don't know if that's a coincidence, or if that's why we're seeing those numbers, and what do we need to be doing for over 25s, if that feeds into your wider point, and I won't interrupt again, Connie.
Yeah, I think very much it is from an education perspective, Greg. There is a lot of work done with the third level colleges. There's a lot of recognising the fact that 25% of college students in the USI study that was done, through the colleges, that 25% of those college students, whether male or female, have had some form of unwanted sexual contact. However, what you're talking about is quite correct. The very fact of myself being on your show is a very important thing to get that message out there. The importance of having it in the newspaper, the importance of having it on national radio is very important, especially for people who are in a situation where they fear coming forward in case they're expected to do something they don't want to do. So yeah, it is really important to get the message out there, I think. And when people, there is the old adage of, if people know there's a service there, they will come. And that has been the case where more and more people are aware of the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit, and more people are coming. I mean, there has been a phenomenal increase of people coming to this service over the last 12 years. From whenever I started working here. And a lot of it has to do with the amount of education and information sessions that are going on with professionals as well as the general public. So, the more information that goes out there, the better. So yes, the main cohort of patients that present to us, the main group would be that 14 to 35, that age group would be the main group. However, we do have patients from all age groups, and we are very, one of the things that's very important to us is the anonymity of our patients that come through the service, and also the fact that even from, where we wouldn't have specific age groups or ages, we would have age groups. So it would be the over 55s that would take in everybody over that, or the over 70s.
Yes.
So if you have somebody who presents to you, you have one person presenting to you who's over 70. I'm not going to report on that specifically, because that could be an identifying marker for that person.
Yeah.
So, we have to be very cognizant of the anonymity involved in this as well.
No, it's very clear. This is very much victim focused. In terms of if someone is the victim of a rape, for example, and it's an incredibly traumatic event, and they may not know what they want to do in terms of pursuing this to make a complaint to the Gardaí. Is it a situation where they should make an early appointment with the likes of the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit to be seen by a forensic clinical examiner, in case in the days that follow that they then wish to pursue it, if you understand my question.
Yes, well,
I know you'll understand it. Sorry, it's in the way I phrased it, is what I'm saying, Connie.
We have 3 options of care within the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. I think that's where you're coming from, Greg. So where the first option of care is always that we want somebody who presents to us in the acute phase, so within the first 7 days of an incident occurring. Yes, we would always encourage people to report the incident to An Garda Síochána, because it is a serious crime. And along with that, the fact that we will be able to look after the person's healthcare needs and their psychological support and whatever other supports are there. And, that's really important. Now, they have a choice then. So we can see them. We have 3 choices. Option 1 is the reporting of An Garda Síochána. We do a forensic examination and we provide all the healthcare necessary in relation to possible prevention of sexually transmitted infections, medications in relation to prevention of pregnancy, prevention of sexually transmitted infections, including HIV, and any care in relation to minor injuries, etc., and referrals on. We also then, now people don't have to choose that option. That is their choice. There is an option there where maybe they are not ready to report it to the Gardaí. So we are actually able to do a forensic examination and store that evidence until such times that they are ready to go forward. And if they're ready to go forward to report it. Now, in that incidence, we are unable to store CCTV. We're unable to store telephones. We are only able to freeze and store toxicology, for example, bloods, urine, and the forensic samples that we take off the person's body and small items of clothing. But in relation to other clothing, possible bed clothing, CCTV, telephones, any messages that have gone on, those things, we are not able to do that. So that's explained to the person. But we advise the person to store those in certain areas. We advise them to save whatever messages that they've received, to save any communication that they may have had, any photographs that have been taken of injuries, things like that. We would advise the person to do that. And that's where the Bright Sky app comes in as well. I know you did a show on that before. Yeah. And that's really good because there are folders within that app that they can download for free off Google Play or whatever, and they're actually able to store lots of things in that app that then can be admissible to the courts. So.
And it's a clever app in terms of how the information, because say for instance in a coercive control or a controlling situation, obviously a person might have high levels of scrutiny on someone's phone, and I think it backs up to a cloud, or there's different other masking exercises and stuff. It's well worth someone having a download of that and going through. So, but it should be said, and I don't want to sort of over-amplify those who do not choose to pursue this with the Guards. The majority of referrals do come from the Gardaí, 63% nationally coming from An Garda Síochána, 19% were self-referred. So, I just wonder in a crisis moment, do people know how to get in touch with the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit? The majority going through An Garda Síochána, presumably some through GP, some self-referrals. So can you talk to me about how someone can get seen at the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit outside of going through the Guards, which the majority already do?
Well, yes, the majority do go through the Guards, and then second to that would have always been GPs. But people can contact us themselves, so they can actually go on if they went into Google or any of the search sites, but particularly Google at the moment, because if you just put in SATU into Google, it will come up as the Sexual Assault Treatment Units, and all the information. We're number 1 on the search engine now. And all the information in relation to sexual assault treatment units is in there, and how to contact the service is in there. Now, the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit, we're very fortunate because whoever phones us contacts us directly. So they don't have to go through any other service. They don't have to go through the hospital system or anything like that. So they can speak to a forensic examiner directly.
Yes.
The other aspect is that it doesn't matter which professional body that they contact at this stage. I've done, and my colleague have done a lot of training and education with different agencies.
It's all well joined up now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very much so
one
in the last decade.
Yeah, one final question, Connie, and thanks for all of your time today. Just so we're clear, we're not talking about people exclusively that something has just happened.
That's right.
This can be something that happened in the past as well. So
Yeah.
what's if it's not necessarily historic or it's not necessarily very recent, they contact the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. What can you do for people in that category?
So a lot of people in Donegal, in the Northwest, we do get a lot of people that present to us outside that forensic time frame. And whenever they do present, we have somebody from the Donegal Sexual Abuse and Rape Crisis Centre here that will offer psychological support in relation to counselling services and access to the counselling services. Also, depending on the situation and depending on the need of that person that presents, it could be a domestic violence situation, and then we would link in with the Donegal Women's Domestic Violence Service. Now, they may not have never presented to a healthcare professional, and therefore they would never have been able to have sexual health screening. They would never have been able to have a check in relation to opportunistic cervical screening, anything like that. So we do all of that within the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. And with that, again, we don't use names. The addresses that we use when we're sending stuff through to the labs is the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. So the patient's address becomes the Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. And that's all to do with the anonymity of it. And also then sometimes people present to us outside the time frame, and maybe they want to actually report it to the Gardaí. So, when they come to us, and then we would have somebody, a specialised guard from the Divisional Protective Services Unit or any of the other Garda that have a lot of experience in this area, and they would come to the SATU and discuss it with that person. Okay. So there's a lot of, there's a lot that we can do for somebody that is outside the forensic time frame.
So you will be believed, you will be trusted, and you will be supported. Connie, outside of Google, a telephone number?
Yeah, so we have, the telephone number is online. Do you want me to give you a telephone number?
Yeah, go on, if you don't mind.
Okay, so the direct line to the SATU is 087 068 1964 or 074 91 21464.
Okay.
So the office number is Monday to Friday, and then the mobile number is all hours, 7 days a week.
And the statistics also show us the importance of it being an overnight service, a 24-hour service as well. A lot, not the majority, I think about a third of contacts are outside office hours. And I think Monday is when the peak of the contact. Okay, and October is the busiest month for those who would be interested in that. Connie, thanks for all your time this morning. I really hope it helps. Even if it helps one person, I think we haven't wasted our time. Not that we have at all, but I think you understand what I'm saying. Thank you, Connie.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Take care. Bye-bye. Okay.
Bye-bye now.
Connie McGilloway, registered advanced nurse practitioner at the Donegal Sexual Assault Treatment Unit. I know it's not a topic for everyone, and it might even be uncomfortable listening for some. But if it helps one of our fellow county people, one of our fellow people from around the Northwest, well, that was time very, very well spent in my view.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Want unbeatable value from Sky? Here's the deal. Get Sky Broadband for just €29 a month, plus Sky Q for only €10 a month. Super fast, super reliable broadband. And Sky Q with your apps and recordings. That's Sky Broadband for €29 a month, plus Sky Q for €10 a month for 12 months. Now that is unbeatable value. Go to sky.ie. Availability subject to location. Offer does not include Sky TV subscription. New Sky customers only. Setup fees, minimum term and further terms apply. For more info, see sky.ie/speeds.
At Hickey, Clark and Langan Insurance Brokers, they compare quotes from all the leading insurers, so you get a great price. Home, motor and van, farm, holiday home, travel and liability insurance, they quote them all. So if the worst happens, you're covered. For a competitive insurance quote today, call Hickey, Clark and Langan on 9126688 or pop into their office at Ballymacool, Letterkenny. Hickey, Clark and Langan General Insurances Limited, trading as Hickey, Clark and Langan, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to give blood and to choose to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Letterkenny and Bunbeg should attend the clinic in the Radisson Blue Hotel in Letterkenny from Monday 8th to Thursday 11th of August. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 to book your time. New donors are welcome. Visit giveblood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware. With stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
For great food in the heart of Letterkenny's Cathedral Quarter, step into Dillon's Hotel. Using only the best local produce, Dillon's serve an extensive menu every day from 12. Perfect for a quick bite, a relaxed lunch or a leisurely dinner. Try the renowned 4-course Sunday lunch with full table service. Or if you work in town, why not pre-order and have your lunch waiting? Great food and service, 7 days a week at Dillon's Hotel, Letterkenny, with live music every Friday and Saturday night. Visit dillons-hotel.ie.
Have you ever been really trying to focus on the homework at hand, but then all you can think about is your hands? And how weird opposable thumbs are. Maybe we evolved thumbs for scrolling. Grandad has posted a video. I'll ring him. I want his take on the Ireland game. Oh, I wonder if the highlights are up. Now I just want to play Rugby 6000. Steph did want to play online after school. School! Homework! Where was I?
Do your kids get distracted online? Get focus time and more with new Vodafone Secure Net to help ensure their time online is well spent. Search Vodafone Secure Net. Vodafone. Together we can.
Parental control subject to having Secure Net at home. Eligibility, limitations and terms apply. See Vodafone.ie. No one can prevent all cybercrime.
Applications are now open for ScaleX Blue Economy, the technology accelerator program for entrepreneurs in the blue economy, including those in the marine engineering, research and energy sectors. Run by local enterprise office Donegal, ScaleX Blue Economy focuses on promoting the skills needed to develop globally scalable ventures, attract investment and create jobs. Applications are open to businesses anywhere in the world who are committed to growing their business from Donegal. Apply before Friday the 19th of August via localenterprise.ie/Donegal/ScaleX Blue.
Okay, the reason why we read out your text and ask you to text in and ask you to get in touch with us if you need help is because we get the job done most of the time. The lady who put a call out for a dentist has got sorted, so many thanks for all of your help there. Another caller says, on the government wasting taxpayers' money, remember the printer they bought that they had to rebuild a room to fit rather than just buying a smaller printer? That comes in from Chris. Yeah, but you know, I remember that was a big deal because it seemed like big money. But the money now that's being thrown away, Chris, makes that printer look like a little printer you might use in your house. But yeah, we could even go back to the voting machines. But even then, that money, pittance compared to the kind of waste we seem to be seeing now. Hi, Greg. Just a mention of how many are buying up houses and putting Ukrainian people into them. They aren't thinking on the poor Ukrainian people. It's their pockets they are in it for. Typical rip-off Ireland. People making money left, right and centre out of these poor people. Greg, I was at the beach with the children, the kids yesterday, and was shocked at the amount of children using blow-up boats and rings to play in the sea. Surely a complete ban should be issued on the dangers of these toys in our seas. Yeah, I mean, it's worrying, and I think maybe if you live beside the sea, you don't see as much of that. People who are raised on the coast, because winds can change very quickly, dependent on the tide and other factors. You can have an unseen breeze or no breeze, and everything is fine and dandy, and then you can get an easterly breeze or an offshore breeze very quickly, and on one of those blow-up devices, you're out of sight in no time whatsoever. You have to keep a really, really close eye on things. I just want to let you know that scammers are calling pretending to be from your mobile provider. When they find out that you know they are a scammer, they'll start swearing and calling you names and even making threats to you. Let your listeners know. Indeed. Get a whistle. Right, okay. Let us take a piece of music, shall we? I think we should. Here is Katrina and the Waves. Okay, Katrina and the Waves there, back with our next guest, and we're talking and giving you advice again, and we have to do it again because the scammers are up in their game, so we have to up ours. There's new warnings out about how you potentially could be defrauded, coming up after the break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
The big bucks are back. 4 Fridays.
4 winners.
Plus 1 lucky jackpot.
Oh, that didn't work. €2,500 every Friday. And on the 4th Friday,
September 2nd. Someone also wins
10,000 cash money.
Go to highlandradio.com. and get your €10 ticket. It's a whole new meaning to cash flow. Highland Radio.
Summer's just got better.
Moby Blast, mobile sandblasting covering Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. Marine sandblasting, automotive and machinery. Also stone cleaning, wood sandblasting, graffiti and paint removal. Suitable for most surface restorations. See Moby Blast Ireland on Facebook and Instagram. Moby Blast, extending the life of your investments.
Since she got her free hearing aids with her PRSI at Specsavers, Roisin is a changed woman. Music has never sounded better, and that makes her dance. And dance. And dance. Her singing, though, well...
Free hearing aids with PRSI at Specsavers. Music to your ears. Find out more online. Terms and conditions apply.
Finn Harps are in Dublin this Friday evening for a crunch bottom of the table clash with UCD. Join Oisín Langan and Declan Boyle for the full match commentary at the Belfield Bowl from 7:45 kickoff. Finn Harps live on Highland in association with B&S Credit Union Ballabouffay, where the Renovate and Green loans can help you turn your dreams to reality. Don't delay, get your loan today. Visit bnscu.ie or free phone 1800 290 390. B&S Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
All right, you're welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. So consumers and businesses have been warned to be on high alert as fraudsters try to take advantage of people moving bank accounts in the coming months. Niamh Davenport is head of financial crime with the Banking and Payment Federation. And, you know, this is not in any way, Niamh, to give these fraudsters, these criminals, credit, but we know they are very current, aren't they? They know what's going on. We've seen it with the vaccinations and all that type of stuff. They can adapt very quickly, and they're going to see the exit of these two banks as an opportunity because it's complicated and it's a tough job for people. They're going to exploit that, aren't they, Niamh?
They are. I heard you say before, this is a repeated message, so it is just another variation, and they use every opportunity. So with the banks leaving, they are going to use this opportunity now, and text message scams, phone scams, email scams, they're always the kind of same type of scams, but they use, as you said, during the pandemic, they pretended to be the HSE or vaccination text messages, and now they're using this going forward. We expect to see a lot more scams around this as well.
The problem is if you the text you receive will often now they can do it whereby it'll appear in the thread of messages. So say, for instance, just using Ulster Bank, it's no reflection on them. They know how to get the scam text into the Ulster Bank thread of text, so it can look very convincing. Yeah. And once you click the link, and I want you to emphasise the importance of this with me, once you click the link, you're popped onto a website that all intents and purposes will appear very much like your HSE website, your Ulster Bank website, your credit union, whatever it is. So it's the clicking of the link that's the firewall that we need not cross.
Exactly. I'm literally like a broken record. Do not click on links. It's the key message to any scam. The link is the key. It's bringing you to a fake website, but it is very convincing. It's very real. We've even had cases where the fraudsters will follow up the text message with a phone call. So what I'd say is fraudsters are professionals. This is their job. They're impersonators, and they're very, very good at it. This is not like the scams we saw years ago, with fake emails that were so obvious that they were fake. They're very convincing. They're very good at what they do, and they know what they're doing. They're using a situation that we are all talking about, that we're all experiencing, and to do that, to commit fraud. The websites, for all intents and purposes, you would have no idea that it's a fake website because it looks exactly the same. Banks are very good at taking down fake websites constantly, but the fraudsters are just one step ahead, always creating new links, new websites. And as you said, the other key thing is that they're getting in to the message thread from your bank as well. We're working very closely with the telcos on that to try to stop that, but it's an ongoing process in trying to get them to. They're always just that one step ahead.
I mean, the provider I'm with, and I'm not sure it's my phone, it pretty much can flag any spam call or text. I just don't understand why that's not across the board.
It's just because they can always just they can change it. So it's not actually that they're phoning or texting from that number. That is just...
I know, but as I say, my network provider or the phone, I don't know which it is, even if they are cloning numbers like we've had it with the local Garda station number being cloned. My phone or my provider picks it up. I just don't understand why everyone doesn't. And the thing about these scams too, Niamh, is that Bank of Ireland customers, Revolut customers, they'll get the Ulster Bank text, say for instance, not from Ulster Bank, but purporting to be, and they'll go, God, how silly do you think I am? I'm not even with Ulster Bank. But they will send out many thousands of these, and many thousands of people will be in the process of transitioning from one bank to another. And that's where the scammers, they don't need everyone to respond and defraud them, but they blanket send these messages at such a level, they only need a few to have missed the likes of this interview.
Exactly. And it's not always pretending to be from your bank. So you might get a text message, say, from Netflix or maybe your utility provider saying your account, your payment has failed this month, please update your account details. And without thinking, you're going to go and click on that link and give your information. So, because you obviously want to make sure that say, for example, that your electricity bill is paid so that you don't get cut off. There's always, what they do is they create a sense of urgency behind whatever it is that they're using, whatever scam message that they're using. It could be, with going forward, we're expecting to see things like this is a text from your employer saying, or an email from your employer saying, we've updated our banking system on our side, so we want you to reconfirm your bank account details in order to get your salary paid. This sense of urgency that there'll be a loss to you if you don't do something creates this automatic reaction, oh, I got to click on this link. And the key thing here is, as you said at the start, is the link. Don't click on links. It's the first red flag in any situation, whether it's a text or an email or whatever the case may be. Do not click on links. If it is pretending to be from your bank, banks won't send you a link asking for personal information. The only thing you'll ever get from a bank is to reply with a Y for yes or an N for no if there's a suspected fraud in your account. They have your personal information. But again, that it's creating a sense of urgency that the fraudsters are doing. So you act in, like you and I talking, or people listening will say, oh, I'm savvy to these, I wouldn't actually click on the link. But in that moment, we're so busy and we're doing so many different things at once that without thinking, we click on the link. So it really is to take your time. If you do think it's a legitimate text message, because some organisations, other than banks, may put links into text messages, I can't speak for them. But if you do get a link, no matter who it's from, don't click on it and contact the organisation directly. So, go into your app or go into your account directly, log in, or use a number that you have on file. Yeah. Never use a number that you have got through the communication itself.
Yeah, and a lot of...
So always go and do that directly yourself.
And the scammers know too that a lot of people are paying for the likes of the Amazon and Netflix and Disney as a recurring debit on a card, not even an account. Yeah. So in some ways that kind of plays into their scam, because they can get instant access to all of your funds. And also too, if you've been defrauded, if you get onto your bank very, very quickly, I've known of a couple of situations where they can be, even if it's debited from your account, it can be like a shadow debit, I think they call it within the banking system. And if you get onto them really, really quickly, sometimes, but not always, maybe those debits can be reversed to your account. So you need to act on it really quickly.
Yeah, I can't guarantee that you'll always get your money back. It is case by case, but the quicker you act, the better chance you have. Time is of the essence. And it's very important obviously in the text message scams and from a consumer purposes, but we really want to flag as well to businesses to be on high alert over the next couple of months. Normally, we have, it's called invoice fraud that we see, and time is of the essence in these. It really is so important. And businesses will be getting emails from their suppliers. So whether you're a coffee shop and you're getting your pastry supplier, your hairdresser, your farmer, getting your grain supplies, whether you're doctor surgery, whatever the case may be, is people are, which is unusual, people will be changing bank accounts. So if you get a communication from any of your suppliers saying that they've changed their bank account details, the first thing you need to do is pick up the phone and contact them directly. Use a number that you have on file for them or that you use regularly with them. Again, do not use the information that's in the email that you got from them, and confirm that they have changed their bank accounts and confirm that number with them. Do not update anything automatically after getting an email in from somebody to say there's new bank accounts. Because what happens is that email is actually quite clever. They're not asking you to make any payment or do anything like that. It's simply, FYI, here is our new bank account details. And then what happens is the next time a legitimate invoice comes in from that supplier, you're paying the fraudster's bank account. So time has lapsed. So the quicker you get on, the better it is for getting that money recalled.
Yeah, and worth making a phone call to the accounts department or whatever, or having some sort of a text confirmation set up or whatever, because we know of many companies, but two in particular spring to mind, that lost an awful lot of money. And I think on one occasion it was done on a Friday when everyone was looking to get out of the office and the person thought they were doing the right thing. And we just have to be on our guard, because they're on their guard and they're very good at what they do, as I say, not to give them any credit. So we just have to make it as difficult for them as possible. Okay, thank you very much for your time, Neve.
Thanks a million.
All right, take care. Neve Davenport, Head of Financial Crime with the Banking and Payment Federation. Okay, and no regular listeners, you're sick and tired of hearing the same stuff, but it would be remiss of us not to get that information out when there's a request to do so, just so as many people as possible that we can save being defrauded, that we actually do. All right, let's see, it's nearly 11 o'clock. Okay, still another hour to come on this sunny Wednesday on the 9 till noon show. But it's time for a news update at 11 o'clock. Let's say good morning now to Emma Ryan.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. A mental health organisation is offering free counselling to people who have been affected by MICA and the defective blocks crisis. Anyone affected can access free counselling, psychotherapy and psychological support sessions through the service offered by My Mind. The service currently does not have a base in the Northwest, but sessions are available online. Tom Hanratty of My Mind says uptake has so far been slow, but he is hopeful that more people will take up the opportunity. Gardaí in Donegal have issued a warning over a one-ring scam. Gardaí say they have received recent reports that missed calls are being received from a 94 prefix number. It will ring once and then stop and register as a missed call. If the recipient returns the missed call, they will be rerouted to a premium rate number overseas and billed extortionate rates. Gardaí are advising people to ignore the number and not to return the call. The PSNI is urging people who are victims of mother and baby institutions, Magdalen laundries and workhouses to come forward, with a particular appeal to people in the border counties and elsewhere in the Republic. These institutions house many, including pregnant women and girls from 1922 to 1990 in Northern Ireland, who often felt coerced into giving up their child. Thousands of people are said to have entered these institutions over a 68-year period, and since the investigation was launched in 2021, officers in a dedicated investigation team have received 57 reports. Ireland is over the peak of the current wave of COVID-19, according to the HSE. The number of patients in hospital has dropped significantly over the past month, while the amount of positive antigen tests being recorded is down. It comes as over 50s will be invited to book a second booster vaccine this month, with people 60 and over able to book appointments from next Monday. A new 30% tax rate would benefit over 1 million people. It's been suggested as a way to ease the cost of living crisis for middle income earners, with a number of government ministers said to be in favour of the move. The Department of Finance will today publish its tax strategy group papers outlining the options for next month's budget, with one of the papers suggesting the 30% rate would benefit 1 million Irish taxpayers if implemented. And finally, as temperatures are set to rise even further in some parts of the country in the coming days, people are being warned of the potential dangers of swimming in open water. They're also being advised not to be overconfident in the water, to know their limits, and to avoid using inflatable toys in the water. That's all for now. We'll be back with an update again at 12 o'clock, but until then, good morning.
All right, Emma, thank you very much indeed. We'll be back with more on the programme, including business news later on in the hour, after we take this break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Back
to school at Brian McCormick Sports and Leisure. Triple black footwear available in junior, women's and men's sizes from Vans and Adidas. Match it up with a backpack and tracksuit bottoms, ideal for back to school. From Nike, Adidas, Vans and Under Armour. Look the part, play the part. In-store, online, mobile. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Milford Tiles, Wood Flooring and Bathware. Milford Retail Park now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. New Bathware showroom now open. Milford Tiles, Wood Flooring and Bathware. 083 091 0707.
For big name menswear at great prices, visit Watson Menswear in Letterkenny. Top casual brands including Mishmash, Sixth Sense, Tommy Bow and Penguin. If you're going to a wedding or a big event, formal wear names include Rimassimo, Andre and White Label. Also a great selection of children's casual and formal wear in stock. Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny and online at watsonmenswear.com.
Visit Knock Shrine from the 14th to the 22nd of August. Hear from guest speakers at 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. daily with something for everyone to feel enriched and inspired.
Don't miss our family day on Sunday the 21st of August from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Bringing you a wonderful range of fun activities for all ages. Face painting, kite making and much more. All on the beautiful grounds of Knock Shrine. Find out more at knockshrine.ie.
Knock Shrine. Culture, faith and prayer since 1879.
Okay, sorry for the pause there. We welcome Liam onto the show. Hiya, Liam.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm all right. Now, you are concerned about the size of the class your child is going into when the new term resumes, and you're afraid it could even get bigger, are you?
That's the problem, Craig. I haven't heard anybody talk about my daughter is in national school, and this will probably apply to secondary schools as well. But over the last 2 years with COVID and everything, and disruptions in class and everything, she's in a class of 32. But come September now, she'll be going back to school, and I haven't heard anybody say anything about where all. And now the poor refugees, where all their students will be going to school. Mm-hmm. And I would hate to think that come September, my daughter will go back to school and she's in a class of 32, and all of a sudden it's a class of 37 or more.
Yeah, but this is based on this is based on nothing that you know at this point, Liam. This is a concern that you have.
Nothing I know, and as earlier in the program you were chatting about accommodation for the university students, but a lot of the people that are staying in the town now will have students that will need to go to school come September, or have the plans for going to school come September, but there doesn't seem to be any talk about where they're going to go to school. Well, my concern is it's not fair for them, it's not fair for our own students, and it's not fair for the teachers. Of come September, the free bus lands. I know it's very welcome, the free bus, but if the free bus, all the schools I know in the Letterkenny area are full to capacity, and really and truly there doesn't seem to be any plan for
they'll put on extra buses. I think tenders have went out for extra buses, and we did see extra buses because we did have this started in February, and we did have not the numbers that we have now, but we have had refugees in the county during the end of last term, if you know what I mean. So we would need extra bus places. Would you hope
not so much? I'm not so much worried about the bus places. My daughter's in a class of 32.
That's what I was just about to get to. Yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's in a class of 32, and that's fairly intense for a teacher alone, and especially with all the time that's missed over COVID. And I'd hate to think that come September now, the class sizes, and all the classes, this isn't just my daughter, all the class sizes jump by 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever number, and we just have to accept it. And it's not fair on the students, the refugee students, or the extra students that are in the town. It's not fair for them. as well.
Yeah, but
that
just to
they're
be
coming into
clear,
class.
just to be clear, because obviously there's going to be awful lot of rural schools that actually be delighted to have extra students because it would help to secure their future. We don't know yet whether or not your child's going to be going into a class of 37, 38. You're saying this. Have you contacted the school to find out how they're dealing with it? Because maybe extra classes can be provided. Maybe refugees won't be going to your child's school at all. Do you think that then schools should be contacting parents to allay the fears that you're talking about now, or to confirm them?
Well, I would like to you know yourself, there's a lot of extra people in the town now, and they're going to have to make some plan.
When you say town, sorry, Liam, you're talking about Letterkenny, are you?
Well, I'm in the outskirts of Letterkenny.
Yeah,
I'm from the outside Letterkenny. My child goes to school outside Letterkenny, but it's in the catchment area of Letterkenny now.
No, the only reason I was asking that, Liam, I wasn't being nosy. It's just because when people reference town, they're normally talking about Letterkenny. I didn't know if it was Donegal Town or Killybegs or Dunlow or Buncrana or Milford or all the other towns around the county.
Well, just on that, Greg. Sure, I mean most small towns like even Glenties and Ardran, all these places now have extra people in them, and I suppose their concerns will be the same.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're saying. Rural schools will be welcoming these students, to boost their numbers. But I know from the schools on the outskirts of Letterkenny, they're at a capacity as it is.
Yep, and indeed,
Some and it's not really fair on the teachers.
Okay, well,
it's not really fair on the teachers or the students.
Yeah, I mean, at this point,
it's just blew on us now come September.
Yeah, at this point, we don't know. I mean, it's a fear, and we don't know, and we'll put the feelers out and try and find out what the situation is.
We're only 3 weeks away from all these schools open, secondary schools and national schools, and there doesn't seem to be any plan, of extra classrooms or extra teachers. I haven't heard it anyway, and I haven't even heard it on your show.
No, I think you're one of the
Put a
first.
feeler out there.
You're one of the first to raise the issue, a concern. But as I say, it's a concern because we don't know the facts. So leave it with us, Liam. We'll see what others say. There might be people listening to us that are on boards of management that might have an insight into this in various different schools, or maybe teachers that have got a heads up from the principal, and maybe they'll give us some information, and we'll make our inquiries too with the Department of Education and see what the story is, Liam. And as you say,
that's brilliant,
only
Craig.
a few
That's
weeks
all
away.
I wanted to know. Wanted to know.
I get you.
And 3 weeks out, I don't want everybody to get a gunk when they go back to school, and all of a sudden the classes have jumped up 3 or 4 more students. Yeah. That's not fair on the students. Not fair on the teachers.
32 already is too big. I mean, 32 already.
Well,
it's well outside the targets.
That's the norm now.
Yeah.
That's the norm in the schools around the town, like so, and on the outskirts of the town. So, I'm not saying the teachers are brilliant in the school that she has, and we've been very lucky with the help we've got.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want it to get much bigger, like.
All right. Is it primary you're talking of? Is it?
It's primary I'm talking about, Greg, but I'm sure the secondary schools will be.
No, for sure. I tell you, it's just interesting because I think the average class size in primary in the Republic of Ireland is 24 or 25. So you're already your child's classroom is already oversubscribed by 25. Sorry, it's actually more than 25 by 33%. Okay, leave it with us, Liam. Everything else get going all right in terms of getting them back to school? It's a stressful enough time.
Oh, the time's running on very quick.
Are they mad to get back to school, or they wish the summer would last forever at this stage?
Well, when the sun's out, they wish the summer would last forever.
Oh, yeah, we're all the same. All right, take care, Liam. Thanks for your call.
Thanks a million, Greg.
Have a great day, Liam. All right, bye-bye. 08660 25,000. If you can give us an insight into that. As I say, we'll make our own inquiries, but you know yourself. There's so many different situations in so many different parts of the county, let alone the country. Right, okay. We're going to be speaking now to, not now, but after the break, to the co-founder of the Sibling Grief Club. It is part of our Wellness Wednesday. Stay with us. I hope you'll find it informative and interesting. That's coming up for you after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Student loans now available and free banking for students from your local and friendly credit union. Call 91-02126 or email loans@letterkennycu.ie.
At Ulster Bank, we are closing. And as a bank that is closing, we've reduced some of our services. What this means for our customers is reduced counter services in branch, no foreign exchange or night save services, and less Ulster Bank ATMs. For customers who still have current or deposit accounts, you really do need to start considering other options. Our branches remain open, and we are here to help. Switch your clothes at any Ulster Bank branch or log on to ulsterbank.ie. Ulster Bank Ireland DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Irish sun doesn't really count, right?
Look, we all deserve a bit of sun. Skin cancer is the most common cancer in Ireland, so whether you're at home or abroad, protect your skin by following these sun smart steps. Slip into long loose clothes, slop on the sunscreen, slap on a sun hat, seek shade. Yeah, even on the cloudy days. Oh, and slide on the sunglasses. I do have very funky sunglasses.
And I do love this hat.
Be sun smart from the HSE and Healthy Ireland.
Tune in this Thursday for all the latest farming news and views straight after the 5 p.m. news. Brought to you in association with Lifford Credit Union, who have recently launched Cultivate, an agricultural loan at only 6.55%, APR 6.75%. Call into any of their 3 offices for more information or to make an appointment. Lifford Credit Union, Rafo Newton Lifford, supporting local farmers.
Years ago, I used to dread my motor insurance renewal. Then a friend told me about O'Malley Scanlon Insurance in Ballybofey and Dunlow. They do all the hard work. They contact all the major insurance underwriters and they get the very best possible quote for me. They have saved me a small fortune over the years and they could do the same for you.
When your insurance comes up for renewal, contact O'Malley Scanlon Insurance at their Ballybofey office on 9131020 or their Dunlow office on 952206. O'Malley Scanlon is regulated by the Central Bank.
If you're tired and struggling to put a spring in your step, discover the power of Revive Active at your local Brennan's Pharmacy. Revive Active is an award-winning super supplement containing 26 active ingredients, including vitamin C, D and zinc, which support your immune system, all in one handy daily sachet. Made for busy, stressful lives, it's the convenient way to put back what life takes out. Enrich your life with Revive Active. In-store or online, click and collect from brennanspharmacy.com. We're here for you.
So, as part of this edition of Wellness Wednesday, we're joined on the programme now by Maveen McNabb, co-founder of the Sibling Grief Club. Thank you for joining us this morning, Maveen. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you, Greg. It's great to be here.
Now, you established the Sibling Grief Club because of a very difficult time that you and your family went through. You've had a real tough time of it, haven't you? Can you tell us what happened to your lovely sister, Trina?
Yeah, so Trina was 34 and in 2017, or sort of late 2016, she took on bowel and doctors were sort of adamant, that she had this stomach bug or a gastro flu that was going around at the time and that she would just have to, sort of stick it out and just stay hydrated, the usual sort of advice. But actually by the time it came to February, she had deteriorated so badly, lost a lot of weight. We felt that it was necessary to call an ambulance for her and she went to hospital and just didn't come home. Whilst there, they discovered that it wasn't a stomach bug, that it was actually a blockage in her bowel. So by the time they discovered that blockage, it was too late. Trina was already dying, and she died very suddenly and very unexpectedly. She went into hospital with the gastro bug and didn't come home, so that was very traumatic in itself. But yeah, so for the whole family, it was just so sudden, so unexpected.
And she was in her prime. Everything was going her way otherwise, wasn't it? It was just starting to really kick on for her, as I say, early 30s, everything going her way other than...
Yeah.
And it sounds like this could have been preventable, Maveen. I mean...
Yeah, well, we certainly feel that it was, Greg. We were there the whole time with her, and we pleaded with doctors to listen to her, to listen to us, but they they just didn't realise. And I think a big factor in it was that it was actually the weekend in the hospital, and there were no senior consultants on duty when Trina needed them. And yeah, that's very difficult to accept.
And unfortunately, I'm hearing all too often of people being sent home from hospital or knowing themselves that something's wrong. And your sister and your family tried to sort of say, no, she knows herself there's something more serious than this. But not everyone's doing that. And people are being sent home, and complications flare up, and it either leads to illness or long-term damage or in death. And I'm one individual, and I'm hearing personally, people that would contact me through social media, there are far too many stories like this, Maeveen, when people aren't listened to or it's put down to something else. And I mean, how could we even put a figure on how many lives are lost or altered without being able to be repaired? I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
Now, this was this was obviously a huge shock. Has there been a support group or club for siblings who've lost someone? Or is there maybe an attitude that we don't think it's the same as being predeceased, for example, or losing a parent? Or why do you think there was a gap that needed the establishment of the sibling grief club?
Yeah. Well, I suppose I should start by saying that the people who were close to us, our family, our friends, our wider community, they all got the gravity of the situation. They were all as shocked and as horrified as we were. And nobody that I know or nobody that I depended on personally for support ever underestimated that relationship, and therefore the depth of my grief and trauma. It was on a sort of a wider societal scale that maybe people that weren't close enough to our family sort of downplayed the sibling relationship as not being as significant or as deep as, say, for example, a parental relationship or a spousal one, or even bereaved child siblings.
How does that? Would we be aware of that? And maybe it's in all different cases, but is it how the wider population or public spoke to you, or how would we know or get a sense that maybe as a wider society, or if you're not directly affected, that people don't see your brother or sister dying as big a deal as it clearly is, or losing someone else? I mean, how does that manifest itself?
Well, people would have said to me, when I eventually was able to return to work, they would have said, I didn't realize that you were as close to your sister as you are,
right.
or were you close? But also, whenever you go online to try and access specific support for adult siblings, there was nothing. There was a huge void there, and you were almost left thinking, this isn't a thing. There's lots of support for all different types of relationships, but nothing for adult siblings. Why are you making a big deal out of this? You automatically think that your grief isn't valid. And if there's nothing there for you, if there's no place for you to put your grief or where you feel you belong, it's a very lonely feeling, and you do feel very much that you're on your own. And I just wanted to do something that would address that gap.
Yeah, and I suppose in terms of a single individual, you've got more in common with a sibling of the same parents than you have with anyone else, really.
Yeah, very much so. You share the 50% genetic makeup. It's the longest relationship that we will have, like longer than with our parents, our best friends, our spouses. And actually, our siblings do form so much of who we are, our personalities. There are barometers growing up. We hone our social skills there. We hone our communication skills. All of those sort of things. Emotional intelligence is developed through our childhood interactions with our siblings. And there's deep, deep bonds there. And I just feel that sometimes they're really underestimated. And in fact, there's very little research that has been carried out specifically on the sibling relationship. But more so than that, sibling bereavement, sibling
Yeah.
loss, and there's very little.
Well, with that in mind, then, in terms of the support that's there, the likes of the Sibling Grief Club, is it to fill a gap for people that there was nothing specific if they Googled it for them? Or is the support tailored? In other words, is there a different type of support for someone who's lost a sibling? Or is it just there's a specific place now that you can get the same sort of bereavement supports, whomever, not dependent on who you lost?
Yeah, I think it's probably a mixture of both, Greg. I think number one, the primary need of a griever is to feel heard and understood. And who better to hear you and understand you than people who have shared the same life experience as you? So that's really, really important, that people feel safe and comfortable in doing that. And we hope that Sibling Grief Club affords people that space. But also, there is also the added requirement for support tailored to adult siblings. It's not that it's wildly different. Obviously, the same principles apply in terms of healing for most people, but not everything will work for everyone. So
yeah, and I think too, there's especially if it's a younger person, there's so many things going on. Firstly, there's coping with that potentially that strong bond that's lost. There is, the lost future together, the shared memories or shared time. There's maybe the realization of your own mortality, or if it's something, could it be hereditary? Has this changed really how I have to approach my health going forward? There may often be young children. It can be easier sometimes to explain a bereavement of an older person. But if it's someone around your own age, there's a different way you would have to speak to children about that, because they could start saying, well, mummy or daddy, is it, is this going to happen to you? There's an awful lot in there that's almost quite unique and specific to the loss of a sibling, dependent on the circumstances, as I say, particularly in that younger age group.
Yeah, hugely. It is, and that has been our experience in terms of the reaction of our family to Trina's death. It really does instill a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety in us all. We all did question our own mortality. Was this, were we next? Our kids had a lot of fear that we were going to be next. So there was a lot of work that had to be done around that, and it involved just a lot of love, a lot of reassurance, and doing things with them that helped them talk about what happened to Trina. They had lots of questions, and there's lots of great organisations out there that do help support bereaved children and bereaved families. And again, that's all encompassed within the Sibling Grief Club website. Lots of different resources there, and we signpost to different organisations that can help in instances like that. So it's not a one size fits all. So yeah. There's lots there,
and the loss is equal, but there can be different circumstances. It could be a road traffic collision, it could be a suicide, it could be a long-term health issue or a sudden health issue, and I suppose it has to be flexible because all of those things, other than the core loss and grief, all of those things can affect different people in different ways.
Oh, definitely. I suppose there's no other way to put it, but the death story, my sister's death story is going to be completely different to someone else's. It's very difficult to talk about that, to explain it to people. And yeah, there's loads of different dynamics, if it's unexpected, if it was expected through terminal illness. But it's all, the loss is the same. If you love at all, then you're going to feel a lot of pain through that loss. It's going to be a very, very difficult time. And, you do need to sort of give it time to feel all of those things and not necessarily, rush into fixing it, because feeling it is healing it. Yeah. And that's what we try and advocate for.
sometimes we say the wrong thing because it feels like if I meet you for the first time, what do I say? Maybe I feel I need to say something more than I'm sorry for your loss. I wonder, do we also need to reflect on how we speak to people who've suffered this type of bereavement or any bereavement as well, that we have to be careful and conscious of the impact our words have. And sometimes maybe if you don't know what the right thing is to say very little.
Yeah, exactly. Again...
or let the person speak, ask a question and allow them to define their relationship, their grief, their loss.
Totally. And look, I was the exact same before Trina passed away, and it's a common sort of experience for people who have been bereaved where they automatically think, oh my God, I've been completely useless in supporting other people. And, you do berate yourself about that. But my own experience has been like, I'm not a grief expert. I'm not a grief worker or a trained professional in this field. But if you don't know what to say very little. Sympathize with someone, I'm sorry for your loss, and say, there's just no words for this. This is absolutely horrendous. Is there anything I can do? So just sitting and listening is more therapeutic. And as I mentioned earlier, giving someone the space to tell their story and to express their grief and their feelings is the most powerful gift that you can give. So if you're ever in doubt as to how to best support someone, it's not to fix. We don't need to be fixed because you can't fix it. We just need the space and the time to be able to, express how we're feeling. But also we need space and time and no pressure to continue as we were, because we're not the same people. We're never ever going to be the same people again, and we need time to sort of come back to our new world, which is being 50% sad and 50% happy.
Yep, and that requires us, the people not directly affected by this particular situation, patience and understanding. And that's it. And let the person because some people deal with grief in different way. They may campaign, they may seek justice depending on what it might be. They might internalize it and not want to speak. It might be the only thing that they want to speak of. And with the happy memories, everybody has to be given the space and the understanding to do, and that's what good friends and good community do. They allow them that and let them define where they're at. And as I say, ask a question, let people speak. There is a lot of stuff there, a lot of experience, a lot of understanding. A lot of people have been through this. A lot of that information's being drawn on, and that's the knowledge pack that's effectively there, isn't it, Maeveen?
Yeah, very much so. In terms of grief support, is that what you're saying?
I think everything, but be it grief support, or I think sometimes we think that when something happens to us, it's the first time it's ever happened to anybody and nobody else understands how I feel. And then maybe in time when you converse or you join a group like yours, you realize that there's a kinship there, that there are people that understand.
Yeah, very much so. And I think that stems from a lack of awareness, about what grief is, because until you experience it, you really can't have any sort of understanding of what the loss will mean. But I genuinely believe that we can do a lot more in terms of preparing people for grief, because a lot of my grief symptoms, if you like, were things that I just hadn't expected. I wasn't prepared for the fear, the anxiety, the confusion, the forgetfulness, the physical pain. Like nobody had ever told me, and I was quite cross about it at the time, and my poor mother, I'd be giving out to her, like, why did nobody think to tell us that it was like this? And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, Mom, I thought grief was just being sad and crying and being really upset, but there's so much more to it, to the point where you think you're losing your mind. And that's a really frightening place to be. And I couldn't communicate that. I had a lot of difficulty explaining. All I could say was, this is horrific. This is absolutely horrific. And I couldn't I couldn't identify what it was, but everything was so different and alien. Nothing felt right. For days after she died, I walked about trying to rearrange furniture because I thought it was the furniture that was out of place, but it wasn't. It was Trina. She was out of place. So, just trying to figure that stuff out. I think we could do a lot more to prepare people for death and for grief and for bereavement.
And maybe we have to get over it. We have to. I can be as guilty if this is others, though I've been through my own stuff. But maybe we're uncomfortable talking about death and loss and grief, and yet we all have to come into contact with it for the most part, unless it's us that goes first. So it's a taboo. It's not a talk about thing. We can see that no one wants to fill out a will. Because that's like talking about death, or you could die, and then we have to pick up the pieces down the line. So maybe we start having more constructive and not sort of default sad stories about our mortality and death and what happens next to us who remain. We might be in a better place.
Exactly. Like, we need to start having those conversations, because there's one thing for sure. It's going to come to everyone's door. Most people have experienced like awful, tragic, traumatic loss of some description, but we don't talk about it enough. But I have to say, like in the space of, like, Trina passed away 5 years ago, and in the space of 5 years, it really has come on a long way, and social media is great for that. And there definitely is a lot more sort of conversations going on.
Yeah.
But if you're not in that community, it's probably going over your head. But if it's one thing that I could encourage people to do, it's just to talk more about grief and be honest and open about it. And therefore we might be able to, have the coping skills before we need them, as opposed to trying to find them afterwards.
Yeah, you're doing great stuff in speaking out about this. How is it for you? Is it, positive? Is it negative, but you feel you have to do it? Or I guess you're the best person to say it's probably a massive mixed up ball of all of that.
Yeah. Look, it's hugely rewarding, I have to say. It really is, particularly when you get feedback from people to say, this has helped me and thank you, for the work that you do. Sometimes it is challenging because you do have to be honest about your own journey whenever you're asking others to do the same. And I'm a very emotional person, so it can be a wee bit draining at times. But for the most part, it's been a really positive experience. And the thing that sustains me and keeps me going is that it really encompasses what Trina was all about. Like, she was the one who would have, taken care of us all. And I love being able to do something that reflects the values that she held dear. And that's just the thing that I suppose that fuels this project, and the fact that you are helping people along the way is a huge honour, really.
Okay, well, our best wishes to you, Adele, Kathy, and the rest of the family. And family goes beyond that, I'm sure. She had really close relationships with cousins or aunts, and the ripple effects throughout an entire family. But that's also a testament to, obviously, the great person that she was, to have that impact on people. If people want more information about the Sibling Grief Club, is it a Google job? Maybe.
Yeah, very much so. So our friend Google just siblinggriefclub.com, or check us out on Instagram and Facebook. We have a wee private group there specifically for bereaved adult siblings. And then the other platforms are, we do look at sibling grief as on its own, but also we involve and incorporate other types of loss as well, and hope that it supports a lot wider base than siblings. So
thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Greg.
It's been lovely speaking to you. Thank you very much indeed. That's Maiveen McNabb, co-founder of the Sibling Grief Club. If you comment you wish to make, 086 60 25,000, or call us on 07491 25,000.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate holiday loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Finn Harps are in Dublin this Friday evening for a crunch bottom of the table clash with UCD. Join Oisin Langan and Declan Boyle for the full match commentary at the Belfield Bowl from 7:45 kickoff. Finn Harps live on Highland in association with BNS Credit Union Ballabufay, where the student loan rate is now on offer. We are here to help you. Visit bnscu.ie or free phone 1800 290 390. BNS Credit Union Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Make the most of the great weather with Homeland Summer Garden Clearance. There's the Brazier Table Fire Pit, only €149, save €50. Outback Sizzler 4-burner gas barbecue, half price, only €199. Cool Flame Solar Garden Torches, only $6.99 each. Shop the full range of offers in-store and online at homeland.ie, while stocks last.
At Creasley Supermarket, we are renowned for offering quality and value for all your daily convenience needs. We've expanded and are now offering a full on-POS service. Pay a bill, send a package, or lodge into a bank account. Our on-POS service is available Monday to Saturday. Creasley Supermarket, we're here for you.
If you have a job to do this weekend, did you know that Watson Hire still have their brilliant weekend hire deal available? You can hire any item on Friday, keep it until Monday, and only pay for 1 day. That's 3 days hire on any equipment or machinery for the price of one. So there's no excuses to get that job done this weekend. Book early to avoid disappointment by calling Watson Hire in Letterkenny on 916-7777. Business Matters, in association with the Faculty of Business at ATU Donegal. The part-time Level 8 Honours degree in Business is delivered through a mix of online and face-to-face lectures. Email execedbusiness@lyit.ie. That's EXECED business@lyit.ie or call 9186206.
All right, that means it's time for Business Matters, which means we're previewing the Business Matters podcast with Kieran O'Donnell. It's presenter. Hi, Kieran.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you with us. Right, let's start with a bit of news straight into it. And I love to see there's a bit of snobbery. I think I maybe mentioned this to you before on certain types of jobs, whether they're retail or like I don't know if we've had a government minister necessarily recently come up and welcoming the opening of a new Lidl store, that's creating 60 jobs in an area or what have you. It's often the tech or that type of stuff. So it's good to see this making the news, and it really is a welcome boost, a jobs boost for Letterkenny.
Yeah, Greg, 20 new jobs are to be created in Letterkenny when Danish flat pack furniture company JYSK opens its Letterkenny retail outlet at the Letterkenny Retail Park. So the Scandinavian company and their arrival to the furniture giant IKEA, they have 16 stores in Ireland, and this will be the first to be opened in Donegal. I think the nearest in this region is Sligo.
Yeah, I haven't been in one of these stores, but a lot of people travel great distances to go to IKEA, so they could potentially do very, very well if it's the same kind of produce.
Yeah, look, IKEA obviously as a major name, but going back to the point you made earlier about maybe going on to the radar a wee bit in terms of 20 jobs. 20 jobs, the current climate, Greg, are 20 jobs, and they're very much to be welcome.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Okay, there's a new Chief Executive Officer at Board Bia.
Yeah, Board Bia has appointed Jim O'Toole as its new CEO, and he will take up his role on November the 1st. Jim O'Toole is currently Chief Executive of Board Iscawara, that's Ireland's seafood development agency, and he has overseen the development of the Irish seafood sector, which was valued at €1.26 billion in 2021. So he's been with Board Iscawara for the last 20 years and has been CEO since 2017.
Yeah, and it's an important body, Board Bia, as well. I think they're the group part of their responsibilities would be like opening up new markets for Irish producers. If I'm not mistaken. And, there are meetings and trips to China or different places that happened years ago that you don't really know about. But now these are really very valuable markets. And I suppose that's, it's hard to quantify success, but that's what they're doing. So hopefully it works. Hopefully he continues to continue that work.
Yeah, I suppose food production's very much come under the microscope in recent times in relation to the farmers and biodiversity and the change and what's going to happen there. So, as you say, they're a big player, and it'll be interesting to see, I suppose, how they're sort of linked. I thought the two agencies as well. So obviously he's bringing big experience there to where he's come from as well.
It'll be interesting because we're coming into interesting times, because the conversation very soon is going to switch from not from where our beef is produced, be it Brazil or Ireland or wherever, but the fact that we're eating beef at all. And that's going to be the next thing that we as a global population need to change what we are eating. I've seen the sort of seeds of that sown recently, and I can just see in the years ahead that's going to be a big conversation. Right, okay. An Acorn program. The next one, in fact, is being launched in October. It's probably a month, two months away.
Yeah, Acorn's the state-funded initiative that encourages female entrepreneurs in rural Ireland to develop their business ideas, is seeking 50 participants for the 2022-2023 programme. Accelerating the creation of nascent startups receives hundreds of applications, and participants are selected on a competitive basis. So Acorn's 8th will run from October 2022 to April 2023, and the deadline for applications is Friday, September the 23rd. So for more information on that, Greg, go to Acorn's website as acorns.ie.
All right. Networking, a huge part of business at all levels, but particularly fledgling. There's an event coming up with that in mind shortly.
Yeah, the Donegal Women in Business Network will hold a coffee morning at 6 locations across the county on Friday, August the 26th, between 10:30 and 11:30. So the event is aiming to reach out to women and afford them the opportunity to find out more about the network. And the coffee morning is being held at the following venues: the Weavers Loft McGee's, Donegal Town, Brown Sugar Bakery in Bundoran, the Baby Hotel in Killybegs, Dillon's Hotel in Letterkenny, the Inishowen Gateway Hotel in Buncrana, and the Revive Market House Coffee Bar in Dunfanaghy. And for more information, check out Donegal Women in Business Network's social media platforms.
All right, post-pandemic, we've seen the return of lots of events, which is great to see. The Donegal Heritage Week, they're going to get their first crack at it post-pandemic.
Yeah, this will be the first in 3 years, Greg. It makes a welcome return, as you say, and it gets underway this Saturday, August the 13th, and runs to Sunday, August the 21st. There are around 60 events scheduled across the county, and a full programme is available online at www.heritageweek.ie.
Kieran, good stuff. All right, we're going to find out what's coming up on this week's edition of the Business Matters podcast, which is live for you right now on our website, highlandradio.com, or where you get your podcasts, and we're going to preview it after these messages.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
The big bucks are back. 4 Fridays.
4 winners.
Plus 1 lucky jackpot.
Oh, that didn't work. €2,500 every Friday.
And on the 4th Friday,
September 2nd.
Someone also wins
10,000 cash money.
Go to highlandradio.com and get your €10 ticket. It's a whole new meaning to cash flow. Highland Radio.
Summer's just got better.
We can all see how conflict affects energy supply and prices. More than ever, we need to be mindful of how we use energy. By reducing your use, you can save money and lessen the impact. Here's how. Only heat your home to the temperature you need. Use appliances efficiently. And where possible, outside the peak hours of 4 to 7 p.m. Consider walking, cycling, or public transport for short journeys. Drive at lower speeds where safe to do so. Government advice and supports are available for homes and businesses to help you meet this challenge. Find out more at gov.ie/reduce your use. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Are you tired of waiting for treatment or surgery? Did you know you can receive immediate treatment across the border under the new NI planned healthcare scheme at potentially no cost? Donegal patients are still being treated with us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Northwest post-Brexit. The process is easy and our dedicated team will help guide you through it. So why wait? Contact us today to find out how you can skip the waiting lists and receive treatment in Northern Ireland. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com, because life matters.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why. The Lotto Jackpot is an estimated €2.5 million. Play responsibly in store, in app, or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
Okay, you're welcome back to the 9 till noon show, and you're welcome back to the Business Matters preview. And Kieran is still with us, Kieran O'Donnell, of course. Right, so what is the topics of discussion on this week's podcast, Kieran?
Yeah, on this week's Business Matters, Greg, I'll be talking to the Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce President, Christine Reynolds, about the 2022 Business Awards. And I'll also be speaking to Business Development Manager with Ncbi Financial Services, Carmel Munro. So the deadline for entries and nominations for the 2022 Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce Business Awards is Saturday, August the 20th. I caught up with Letterkenny Chamber of Commerce President Christine Reynolds to discuss this year's awards, which will be presented at a gala ball on Friday, November the 11th in the Mount Erical Hotel.
I think it's really important, and it's a great thing to have, and it's a massive celebration of businesses, local businesses, and a great way to learn more about businesses as well. I suppose the last awards I was at was back in 2018, and there was loads of businesses that had entered that I either hadn't heard of or I just didn't really know what they did. So massive way to raise your profile and tell people what you're doing. There's a bit of networking goes on in the night as well, so a bit of business is done on the night, but it's just a celebration about what we do that's good up here, what we're great at, and our local businesses. So it's really good to have that.
Yeah, and you heard it in that clip, and you'll hear it throughout the interview, Kieran, from Christine. You know, sometimes you have to plug yourself, sometimes you have to boast of your own success, sometimes you have to say, yeah, we're good enough to win an award.
Yeah, very much, and I suppose the whole thing is it's very important when that happens is to come together, market and celebrate it.
Yeah, are you going?
Hopefully.
Oh, excellent stuff. Okay. You talked about Carmel Munro's. She's of Ncbi Financial.
Yes. Carmel is Business Development Manager with Ncbi Financial Services for the West, Midlands, Northern Ireland and the Northwest. She worked with Ulster Bank in the Northwest for over 30 years and is enjoying her new role with Ncbi, which she took up back in March. Carmel had these words of advice for SME owners.
Look at your cash flow. Look at how do you operate your credit control. Traditional rural Ireland, we're famous for saying, Johnny will pay me down the road. But currently Johnny's possibly have the same challenge as you're having. So sit back and look at your credit control. How efficient is it? If you've always given 30 days, say, and a client is now 40, 50 days, look back on the impact that has had on your business and look back on the future impact that's going to have on your business. I would say look ahead. Look at succession. Whether your 5-year plan is to grow your business into something much bigger than what it is, to scale up, or whether it's to retire, you need to have a 5-year plan in place. Set goals and objectives that you can achieve that. And look for the pinch points along that journey. And when I say pinch points, I say if you're a seasonal business and you're only getting paid for 5, 6, 7 months of the year, that's going to have an dent on cash flow. If your 5-year plan is to expand, you're going to spend 2 years in research and development, that's going to hit your cash flow. Then plan for that now.
All right, it's a business podcast for people in business. It's about business and to inform the general population about the businesses and the people behind their businesses in their local area and beyond. If anyone wants to get in contact with the podcast, how do they do so, Kieran?
Yeah, just drop me an email, please, Greg, businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Rightio. Now, the full interviews with Christine Reynolds and Carmel Munro are available now on our website, highlandradio.com, on Spotify and iTunes as well. It's broadcast on air as well, Kieran?
Yeah, after the 6 o'clock news on Sunday evening.
Super stuff. Listen, thank you very much for that.
Enjoy the sunshine,
All right,
Greg.
You too. Do you enjoy the sunshine?
Very much. I'm going out into it now.
Huh?
I'm going out into it now.
What are you going doing?
I'm meeting one of our colleagues later on, Brendan Vinny. I think he's heading to the Downings for a bit of a barbecue.
What are you going for? Waffles? Two
very,
wafflers.
Very appropriate.
Two waffles.
If you come a little before.
I'll tell you. You'll not get a word in. So you're going for a barbecue?
Well, that's the plan anyway.
And where?
It's supposed to be Downings.
Really? Why? Okay. Out the beach?
Well, that's the plan anyway. He's master of ceremonies, so I'm just going to. I'm going along with whatever he's saying,
Well, there you go. That's an interesting one. So if you see two fellas burning burgers in Downings, call the emergency services. All right, Kieran, thanks very much indeed.
Cheers,
all right, take care of yourself. The Business Matters podcast available for you right now, or you can go on our website, highlandradio.com, listen back in the playback section. We were talking yesterday about people who have been waiting a long time, or indeed have not been waiting a long time at all, for hip replacement, knee replacement, other operations that you can get done quicker if you go across the border. Now, that could be into Northern Ireland, or as we heard from James, over to Spain. It can work really quite well for you. And just some comments coming in in relation to that. This is someone wondering, can they get any help? I'm waiting on a hernia operation for 3 years. I went to Ballykelly. They said they could not do it because they had no ICU. It's 4 years now. My hernia is now the size of a football, and still no word from Dublin. Can you imagine? They'd be looking very. There's something that they're having to live with, and it's not really comfortable at all. Right. Okay. We'll come back to that because I want to get in before 12. A word with John McAtee, who's lifeboat operations manager at Lough Swilly, RNLI. Good morning, good to see you, John. How are you keeping?
I'm very well, Greg. Can't complain.
Yes, well, we're trying to keep you as quiet as possible. You and your teams do absolutely amazing work. You know, it's really important, I think, that we enjoy good weather, that we take care, be it sunscreen or we use the waterways, and be careful in how we do it, but not to not enjoy ourselves, not to go outside, and not to not have fun. We have to have fun when we can. But we do know that sometimes, I suppose, if we're not used to the water, or if we haven't been near it for a while, John, or if we're excited and happy and whatever, we can let our guard down. So this is just to remind us a few things. I suppose, be it lakes, rivers, quarries, the open sea, you just have to be really, really careful, don't you?
Yeah, you really do, Greg, and it's really, and I would agree with you. I mean, we would agree with you as an organisation. People must enjoy the facilities that the water offers them, and that's great to do it. But it's important, as you say, to do it with care and taking care for your surroundings. And one of the things that we promote heavily at the moment is what we call the Float to Live campaign, which was designed to really look after people who never intended to go into the water. And though there's about 200 people a year have drowned because they never intended to be there, but they go too close to the edge of a cliff path or something like that, or they slip into a lake or get cut off by the tide, and you're plunged into the water all of a sudden. And what tends to happen is people thrash about, and they get into a panic, and they really get into bother, and unfortunately can end up losing their life.
Yeah, and that means really that it's like running up 5 flights of stairs, one after the other. Perhaps, you know, you have to reserve your lung capacity, because very quickly you can find yourself panting and chasing your breath. So it's about, in the heat of the moment, a few simple pieces of advice. Yeah. And what are they, John?
Well, it's based on the word float, and it's simple if you keep it in your head. If you take the letters of float, F is the first letter, and you have to fight your instinct to thrash about or panic or swim. And then L is for lean back in the water, try and keep your airways clear. O is for opening up your body and extend the arms and legs into the floating position. And then A is for the actions you take then to gently move your arms and legs and help you to float. And all that process calms you down and gets you in control of your breathing again, because you've had a shock and you're in cold water. So it's very important to get the breathing back. And that gives you tea at the end, gives you some time to then reassess your own situation. But it also gives time for the emergency services like ourselves to get there and give and render assistance and help where needed. That's as simple as that. If you hit the water unexpectedly, remember float and remember what it stands for. Basically, lean back in the water, calm yourself down, get control of your breathing, and hopefully somebody, if people were with you or have seen you, they'll have alerted the Coast Guard, and that will alert us or other organisations. And those simple steps will save lives.
And you just have to be really aware of your surroundings too. I mean, I can't remember the last good day we had, or maybe it was the one before that. There was an offshore breeze, an easterly breeze, depending on where you are in the country, of course. And one after another, people were getting blown out on paddle boards that you stand on, even kayaks. Their arms just gave up. They could no longer paddle against the current and the wind. It's to be aware of those type of things, that maybe if you're not familiar with the sea or open water and you don't live beside it, you can get caught out very quickly, because it can change like that. The wind is not, it doesn't blow in one direction and that's it for the rest of the day. It can switch with the tides or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it happens so quickly and so simply, and you're not in control of the situation when you're in the water as a kind of an alien environment, and winds, currents change, and all of a sudden you're out of your depth. So it's being aware of the situation you're in. If you're swimming, swim parallel to the shore. Don't swim outwards. Stay in your own depth. It's all straightforward, and you can have plenty of fun doing all that.
Okay.
But the tendency is to move out and go further, and can result in getting into difficulties.
John McAteer, Lifeboat Operations Manager at Lochswilly RNLI. Thank you, and all your colleagues for the work that you do. Have a great day.
Thanks very much, Greg. Good to talk to you.
Okay, you too. Right, that's where we have to leave it. If you can get out in the beautiful weather that we're having, get out, enjoy it. Cover your skin if you cover your skin, because you'll get burnt very quickly. Go out and enjoy the water, but do so safely. Do it without fear, just with caution and care. All right, take care of yourself. Back tomorrow morning at 9. Stay tuned. John Breslin's up around the northwest after the news at 12.
The 9 till